I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Doing no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad. Baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Shit on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious. I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad. Baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Baby, I'm bad. Baby, I'm bad. Baby, I'm bad. Cash the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad.
I was made for chasing you, baby.
I won't obey. You cannot tell me what I cannot say. I'm here to last, so yeah, I'm here to stay. I'll live each second like my final day. You can't take that away. Yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad. Baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad.
You're chasing the truth with my man, Shawn G.
Well, I just tried some a little new today, but there you go. How you guys doing? Wow, got a couple people in here. Give me just a second, get this sucker going here so I can show you. If you notice, the artwork and stuff was by a new friend of mine by the name of Chris Miller. I met him last night over on Old Religion Dystopia 2 over on Mike's channel, doing a live stream over there, and got permission to share with you one. Hold on just a second. I ain't got this thing out here. All right, I had it all planned out in my head, and it looked great in my head, by the way. I just wished it looked all right. Now, Chris is not going to be here tonight. Hey, Sue, the Calloused is in the house. But Chris Miller, I'm going to drop his link to his Facebook. If you don't mind, go over there, check him out. Yeah. That's his link over there in the chat. Go check him out because he's got some fantastic stuff. That live stream over on Old Religion Dystopia last night, he was out there doing some old school in the snow investigation live stream with Mike and a bunch of others, and I was on there for a few minutes, but I was kind of on the tired side, so I didn't stay on for very long. But holy cow, what is going on with y'all? Let's see. Let's scan through this and then we'll jump into what I'm about ready to get with you. He's an artist, Chris is, and he, draws Sasquatch. Very impressive fellow. I liked him. Pretty cool guy, for sure. Get that followers up a few. Get them above 200 at least, if you guys don't mind. Go over and join or follow him over there on Facebook if you don't mind. Tell him old Shawn, Chasing the Truth, sent you. And there we go. Let's get this thing out of the way here. Stop that screen share. Let's see who's in the house. Let me pull up my participants here. See what we got going on. We got Amy, Miss Sue from Down Under, Big John. Hey, brother. Gil, Blues and G Music. Gregory, Hannah, Julie S., Moonlight Mysteries. Lakea's in the house. Scott, I hope you're feeling better there, Lakea. And she just dropped out, looks like. Hannah, Julie S., I just said. Scott, Sheldon, Sugar Britches, and then Sue Callis. Got two Sues in the house tonight. And Arlene just slipped in under the radar. Look at that. Holy cow. Tonight we're going to go over some old school 911 calls with Bigfoot on the forefront. And I've got some other stuff that it's kind of Bigfoot rich tonight. In the, I guess, the subject matter anyway. Joanne, what is going on, Miss Joanne? Let's go ahead and get the prayer started. Father God, I ask you to bless everyone that is here with me tonight, listening to me or after the fact. Father God, thank you for blessing me with the ability to get on here and start talking. Thank you for my family. Thank you for my friends, all the blessings that I know of and don't know of. I'm asking Lord Jesus Christ that if it be in accordance with your holy will, that all curses, evil, demonic involvement, and or attacks being sent against me, my listeners, my followers, my friends and family, be blocked and be sent back from whence it came. Father God, please bless the following people: Keith and Jimmy, Jean and family, Joanne, Marilyn's niece, Shell and Aiden, Laura and her family, Julie and Jeff, Justin Walker, Sharon Guy, Brenda, Julie S., Aaron and Erica, AJK, Claire Ellis, Doll for spiritual support and strength. Simulate, Jack and his children, Juanita Hicks, Kim, Amy, Beth and Kurt and their father, Wes and his dad, T. Willis, Daryl Pratt, Jose Ramirez, Julie Wheeler, Marquetta Jones and her family, Holly, Sharon Arms, Kevin, Hugo Nagy, and anyone else that has unspoken prayers. Father God, please bless them as you see fit with your holy will. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. Folks, if you want to be a part of that little prayer list, that prayer chain, please send me a text message or at 931-994-6917, or you can email me at my new old Chasing the Truth 2018 Gmail. So, if you'd like to be on that, if you're on that list and you think, well, I don't need to be on that list anymore, just send me word. If you need to be have a prayer sent to you or prayed for you or prayed with you, you can still call me at that number or send me a text, and I will certainly put down anything and everything I'm doing at that point, if humanly possible, and pray with you or pray for you. So, that being said, let's get this show started. Let's see, we got AAP in the house. Cover and follow that fellow. Bass Mayhem's in the house. Look at that. Oh, my Lord, have mercy. Mike's in the house. We got all kinds of people just rolling in here. All right, so first off, let's go ahead and get this. What do we want to do next up? I want to... Let me get me something. Well, we'll start off with... This can't be real. And this is not exactly a 911 call, but it's from over North Carolina, just right in my backwoods. But hold on a second, let me share this thing out so you can see it and hear it. Just a second, let me share this out. And this is a YouTuber, or not a YouTuber. This is WCNC, and I'm using the fair use stuff here. Let me make sure I got all my audio piped in just right so you guys can hear that. Yeah, you can. So here we go.
Show.
Vicky Cook.
Was it went in front of my camera?
Well, she's still scratching her head.
Sometimes I said, this can't be real.
Her video, well, it's grainy.
At least 7 or 8.
But her conscience is clear.
Screamed. I didn't know what it was, but that thing was tall.
She says the Sasquatch sighting started back in March.
There's one. There's another one.
Footprints are Vicky's proof.
I think I've counted about 8 different size prints. A 16-inch plaster cast. Maybe a juvenile, but look how long it is. That's a big print.
Coming through there.
Here, there.
And then going back.
Through that hole there. And it's no bears. I already been through all that.
Are you sure it's not any bears?
There's no bears.
For centuries now, trackers have been trying to trap the elusive creature. John Bruner documents sightings across the country and runs the Bigfoot 911 Facebook page.
It was huge. It was on 2 legs. It was bipedal. The hair on the head and the body was real stringy and matted. There was no hair on the face, and the nose was flat.
And right now it's showing all the pictures I've taken.
Back to Vicky.
Well, I take them things mostly like candy, and
she says she doesn't want her neighbors going hungry.
They love peanut brittle. They're not too crazy. They don't like apples and bananas. I don't know if it makes them.
What's their favorite?
The candy.
In Cleveland County, I'm Xavier Walton for NBC Charlotte.
WCNC, that's where
North Carolina.
Let's stop back, Rascal. WCNC was that last little bit there, contributor to my show tonight. And let's see. So, first off, have you seen or heard any of this stuff? This little lady's hand feeding these Bigfoot creatures. This little lady right here. There she is. USAF. No trespassing violator will be prosecuted. Interesting. But she's got neighbors that are big and hairy, and she gives them peanut brittle and all kinds of other little things, treats and stuff. Would you feed, if you had a Bigfoot or Big Feet, Bigfoot, a pod of Bigfoot, I guess that was it. Haven't heard of her, Sugar Bridge says. Would you gift them peanut brittle? Yeah. Amy, you don't know what peanut brittle is? Oh my Lord. Eating the big, I don't know if I would want to do that. I can't say that I have had a notion to, know that Bigfoot's been in my backyard. Well, no, I can't say that. That's kind of misleading. Back when I was in the early teens, the place where I used to live had some Bigfoot sign, bent branches and then big trees about the size of a Coke can, the girth of the trees, pulled up by the root ball. Not just saw down, I mean pulled up by the root ball. You can imagine how big that sucker is. And thrown up into bigger trees on the side of a mountain was virgin forest. And here I am, like 12, 13, going, what the heck is that? And I was looking around thinking, well, there's no clear cutting going on. The only clear cutting I knew was probably about 10 miles away, but nothing. Nothing's going on there. Let's see. We got, she will be food. Well, if she quits, if they get used to it and that's where their sole source of food is coming from, and she just suddenly quits. I've heard of anecdotal stories where, these Sasquatch will run in, grab them, and take them out and say, hey, food time, barbecue, unfortunately. But there you go. So, let's see. Let's see. Those creatures do not need us to feed them. Absolutely, but this little lady is feeding them bananas and all kinds of different treats. Peanut butter. I don't know if y'all know what peanut brittle is, but I definitely do, and that's pretty expensive stuff to leave a treat out for anybody. And Mr. Gene from Green Mountain Dronies out there. Good to see you, folks. So tonight, what we'll be doing, what I had planned on doing is, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Ford. I've got a few little things in here, and I've got some 911 calls that I haven't heard in a while. And if you've been a part, chasing the truth with me since the beginning, there's going to be a little 911 call from 1993 that I kind of snipped and put into a leader, well, not a leader, but in an intro and an outro. But you'll hear it here in a second. But yeah, this little lady, I don't know if I'd want to be her or live where there's Bigfoot around there, but heck, I'm sure there's Bigfoot all around me where I live in Southwest Virginia on the border of Kentucky. I definitely know there are Bigfoot around here. So that being said, if you want to call in at 931-994-6917, feel free to do that. Let me stop sharing here. I don't want to present. I want to invite. If you want to jump in and StreamYard, go right ahead. No, for me, Shell says. If you want to jump in, you are more than welcome. So, next up, let's make sure I got my audio. I had it all straightened out. It looked nice. I already played this out in my head how this show is going to go. That's going to go the way it's going to go. Here we go. Next up is, let's go ahead and we'll get the... All right. This is from Cleveland County. And this is actually the Bigfoot audio or Bigfoot 911 call used on my intro back in the early days, the first year or so. But here you go.
Cleveland County 911.
I don't know if I should have called this in or not, but
what's going on?
If I'd had my camera, I took a picture of it.
Took a picture of who?
I don't know what it was. He's walking upright like a man. I would not kill it because I was afraid to. But it went back up the mountain.
Cleveland County 911.
Hello.
Can I help you?
Yes. This is Tim Peeler.
Uh-huh.
You probably have my address.
Yes, sir. What's going on now?
I shined a light on this thing, but I want to shoot it.
Okay, what did it look like?
It looked like a giant ape with a man's face. But I was afraid to kill it. And it made a whistling sound. He was about 9-10 foot tall with real long arms. I go out there, he gets gone. Now I come back in the house, and he gets back there again, and my dogs are just raising heck. Would I get in any trouble if I shot and killed this beast, this animal, or whatever it is? Would I get in any trouble?
I can't answer that question.
If he goes too close to me, I'm going to kill him.
Now, I just popped up the actual news story from News Channel 36 staff at CharlotteObserver.com, Cleveland County, North Carolina, Tuesday. News Channel 36 spoke to Tim Peeler, who says he saw a Sasquatch near his home in Kaiser. Now we have copies of the 911 calls that Peeler made to authorities. And he was about 9 to 10 feet tall, which we just heard. I know the guy sounded like he was two sheets in the wind, but I wasn't laughing at him. I was laughing at his state of being at that point. But holy cow. Shell is in the house, and she's saying, how did everybody be going? And come, there you go. But do you believe that fella with this? incredible story. He called in twice. You would think that cops would come out there and say hello. Heather, welcome aboard. We're doing a 911 call review with Bigfoot Ford in the 911 calls. And then I've got a few other little things that we'll be talking about. And if you want to call in at 931-994-6917 and talk about anything that you want to talk about. I saw the LBL thing there, Mike. Here's my thing about LBL. Oh, everybody's doing LBL. LBL this, LBL this, that. If it ain't cryptid, it ain't LBL. If it ain't LBL, it ain't cryptid. More or less. That's, man, fantastic stories going out there. And Confessionals did a super job earlier today. I listened to about 5 minutes of it while I was doing my crazy stuff I do every day. But there you go. LBL, Land Between Lakes, and that's about 200 miles as the crow flies from where I'm sitting at right now. 15 miles on this side of the Virginia border, on Kentucky border, Virginia-Kentucky border. But there's all kinds of Bigfoot out through there. But do you believe this guy from Cleveland County, North Carolina? Yeah, smash that like, folks. Appreciate that. AAP there. And we do cryptids, so what's wrong with that? Well, it's nothing wrong with LBL. That's all I've heard. Every time I look, it's LBL, 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 LBL. I'm like, okay. I guess the LBL maybe is the coin of the moment, the trick that gets everybody's attention. So, no offense to anybody. LBL has some great stories. I'm not knocking LBL. That's all you hear about. I'll find some other stories somewhere, some other place, but that just happens to be the catch-all right now. And then Julie says, I believe him 100%. Even though he was really a new... Hold on a second. Let me pull him back up. I want to listen to that. When I listen to it, he gets to the point, it looked like a man or looked like an ape with a man's face. And I can't rip out that little bit. I heard that bit probably 1,000 times already. So... Let's see. Let's get this thing back here. We'll start this all over again. I want to hear this one more time just to hear that guy say it looked like an ape with a man's face.
Cleveland County 911.
I don't know if I should have called this in or not, but...
What's going on?
If I'd have my camera, I took a picture of it.
Took a picture of who?
I don't know what it was. He was walking upright like a man. I would not kill it because I was afraid to. But it went back up the mountain.
Cleveland County 911.
Hello.
Can I help you?
Yes. This is Tim Peeler.
Uh-huh.
You probably have my address.
Yes, sir. What's going on now?
I shined a light on this thing, but I would not shoot it.
Okay, what did it look like?
It looked like a giant ape with a man's face. But I was afraid to kill it. And it made a whistling sound. He was about 9-10 foot tall with real long arms. I'll go out there, he gets gone. Then I come back in the house, he gets back there again, and my dogs is just raising heck. Would I get in any trouble if I shot and killed this beast, this animal, or whatever it is? Get in any trouble?
I can't answer that question.
If he goes too close to me, I'm going to kill him.
Which I have no doubt. I spotlighted him, which, if you live in the backwoods, especially here in Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, probably North Carolinas, you name it. Oh, yeah, he was beyond, I would dare say he had been drinking for a few days. I don't know how he dialed 911, but he did, unfortunately, or fortunately, because it added to the flavor of the moment. And Sheldon says, absolutely, you would be in so much trouble. Yeah. Anyway, that being said, anybody at all, Amy says marinate. He was beyond, I marinated. He probably already embalmed himself about 2 years prior to that. And I believe this is from 1993, if I remember correctly. Let me double check the specifications here. Now, this is from 2010. But the audio says it's from 1993. So we'll go with June 18th, 2010. I don't know. Okay. So it's either from 1993 or 2010. For more details, go to psc.cointl.org and look up 911 calls released in alleged Bigfoot sighting. There you go. So anybody disbelieve? Anybody disbelieve? Raise your hand. Say, nope, I don't believe that. Oh, fella, he's too drunk to talk. So that's the next thing. Oh Lord! Now, I know where I used to work in the hospital field in the ER as a respiratory therapist. It wasn't nothing to, you had. You had your fellas and women, both men and women, come in, and they were 2 sheets in the wind, some way, somehow. But his next call, hey, I just shot a big fella. He's flipping around in my yard. Should have put should have put a northern in him. Nothing in him for good measure. Oh my Lord, probably. There you go. GNA's in the house. Hey, what's going on? Too drunk to lie. Well, that's true. Once you get so much in you, you start telling truths to a certain extent. But I know some people really mean when they're drunk. So who knows? The drunk tell the truth, GNA says, which I'm right there with you for the majority of it. Anyway. So let's mix it up and we'll get to what else I have next up. Already done the little old lady. All right. So the next little bit I got is from WDRB. Why in the world I want to say from Cincinnati? I think it's just that program. What was that Cincinnati? WKRP from Cincinnati? Remember that old TV show? WKRP from Cincinnati. But here we go. This is from WDRB. Now.
They can't make an alleged Bigfoot sighting leads to gunfire inside Mammoth Cave National Park. WDRB Sarah Sideries talked to campers who say they saw everything unfold.
Those campers say they were inside their tent when a man started screaming that he saw Bigfoot, then fired his gun just yards away into the woods. The legend of Bigfoot, apparently alive at Mammoth Cave National Park.
He was like, this is like an area known for Sasquatch.
But Madeline Durand and Brad Ginn didn't think they'd find themselves in the middle of a hunt during their backcountry camping trip.
When she first woke me up, they were just like shining their flashlights on our tent.
The couple says it was a man and his young son searching for something in the woods.
We asked them like, what's going on? And they say that their campsite had been completely destroyed, like their tent, everything, and that they were following the yelling whoops to figure out like who destroyed their campsite.
The man told the couple he hoped they had guns, flashed the pistol under his shirt, and went on his way.
Started hearing some of those whoops again, but they sounded closer this time. And they were also in the same direction that he went.
then screaming.
He was just like, oh my God, there it is. I was like, I see it. And
followed by gunshots.
our rain fly was off of our tent, so we can see out the screen, and all I see is the gunshot flashes.
Just yards away from the couple.
He says that he saw Bigfoot emerge from the brush near our tent.
Park rangers say that while it's legal to carry a gun in the park, it's against federal law to fire one.
There was absolutely nothing there, though. We shined our flashlights, and yeah, there was nothing.
At 2 a.m., the couple hiked 5 miles back to their car and called 911. A creepy encounter cutting the camping trip short.
Was there any point where you felt like there was some creature?
No. Not other than the man with the gun.
Park officials say the incident is still under investigation. Also, they do not keep any records of alleged Bigfoot sightings here. In Mammoth Cave National Park, Sarah Sidery, WDRB News.
All right, now that is right down from LBL, actually, the Mammoth Cave. What is going on, Crystal? Glad you showed up. Appreciate you dropping in. So, this is Mammoth Cave, and I've talked about this probably half a dozen times over the last few years. Mammoth Cave. You guys believe this couple and the incidents of whoever was shooting at Bigfoot and all that whooping and yelling and hollering over there? Oh, bear's in the house, buddy. Look at that. The big bear with a little pup. Okay, that's cool. Interesting. So, Mammoth Cave, y'all, not at all. Y'all believe any of this Mammoth Cave stuff? Is it nonsense? Is it 100% true? What is it? Well, what is this Mammoth Cave stuff? Hey, you need to turn the audio. Extinguish your device, as old Art Bell would say, or Mike.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool. Hey, I got a little treat for you guys if you want to see some neat image.
Sure, let's go for it.
Of some things. All right, let me present. Share screen.
Hit that button.
Here we go. Let's just have fun.
There you go.
So this is an interesting image, and I will help you out with a couple to bring it up. But first, let's look at this image that I filmed. Well, just off the Lake Erie and Maumee Bay State Park. You can see, first of all, the right there, something decided to break that right there. Break it down there, and there's no one there, right?
Oh, is that something that was thrown up into?
It looks like they broke it. Now they is right in here. All right. And there's a couple of them. And what I'll do to make it easier, I'll start out. If you can see, there's something going on right here, and there's something going on right here. A little closer look, and if you can see, folks, there's an eye, big old eyebrow, another eyebrow. There's an eye, and there's a nose. There's his head. He's peeking behind that tree. You can see the body leaning right there. Looks like an arm. He's not alone, by the way, but let's look at him for a second. Can you see what I see? Do you see what I see? Do you see him looking at me? There's an eye right there.
Sort of, kinda.
There's the eye. There's the eyebrow. There's the forehead. There's his nose once again, popping out. That ain't no tree, I can tell you that much. And it ain't pareidolia.
Well, they're masters at camouflage for sure. That's without doubt.
Yeah,
crazy.
To say the least. Actually, there's also something going on right here. What I'll do for you guys, I'll give you a smaller picture so you guys can tweak it yourself. I didn't tweak anything. All I did was, So there's the entity, Bigfoot, if you will. There's another one right here. No, I'm pretty convinced that somehow, some way, they pop out of these trees, like Native Americans say.
Mm.
They use the energy, the essence of the frequency of those trees. And he was looking at me while I was taking a picture. I didn't see it, as usual, with my own naked eyes, but he's looking right there. I don't know. What does everybody else think? Does anybody else see anything? Or is it just my imagination?
I see a couple of things, but hard to tell. I think I see something right in the center bottom in the foreground, but it may be. Does that place have cattails?
Let's bring this out. This is be mostly cattails, and also oh God, what's the name of that grass? Mine just dropped, slipped. It's about 4 feet tall. The grass gets, but there's where the cattails are. I would say that's probably about 40 yards, 45 yards away from where I took the picture, maybe 50. I guess a better way of looking at it would be the original. Let's look at the original picture. This is the original picture. Mm-hmm. So this is where this tree is right here, where the broken is, and then the head's right here. So,
okay, maybe. Sometimes I can see this stuff, and sometimes I can't. There's days I can see it, and there's days I can't. And I've had arguments with several people over that. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I can see it. And the next day I wake up with the same freaking picture and like, where the hell to go?
Yeah. Well, I think this one's one of those that I don't think that's, if one just kind of spends a little time looking at it, you can see clearly that it's something that's sticking out. It ain't the tree. There's a big old dark eye there. There's just an eyebrow. He's looking at the, you definitely have, your software there. You could take a snippet there and, tweak it. There's also a head popping out right here, and you can see the dark eyes right there, dark recessed eyes. Now, I know it's not something that people want to hear, most people at least. There's a couple more popping out as well, like something right over here as well, but this is very clear to me, and there's something going on here as well. And I know people have a hard time accepting that these things are popping out of trees, but as time goes on, more and more will come to, I believe, an understanding, a deeper understanding of what's going on here. But I figured I'd just share you that one. I mean, there's multiple images. I don't want to hijack your show. I just figured I'd share a little treat people. I ask you to look at that. I ask you to think about what I'm saying, what other people are saying, and broaden your horizons.
All right, so Shell sent something. I'm just saying she took a screenshot of what you were sharing. A second, and we'll share this out. You remove that and add my thing here. Window. And we'll get this thing going. There you go. That I think right in there is what she was looking at.
So that would. Let's see. Let me look at the original image. That looks like let's see. That's a completely different entity that I was looking at. That shell, she can see things that the rest of us don't. So, okay, there's something that will give away as a blade of grass. That must be really darn close. Really darn close.
You can see the cattails right here in the front. So this is.
Yeah, I noticed in that image, the original image, I noticed that there was many things going on, but the one that really stuck out was the one, the big fella right there. Clearly, if you look at that, if it's standing on the ground, we're talking, I mean, there's even, like, you can even see the hand if you wanted to. Clearly 8-9 feet tall, at least, maybe. Probably more like in the 9 to 10 foot range. And if it's standing on the ground, that's if it's standing on the ground, okay? Which I think a lot of these things aren't actually standing on the ground. They're just, they pop out of these trees You know, they tell us that it's all pareidolia, but I mean, at some point, if you train your eyes, you realize that can't be pareidolia. There's something else going on here. And I think that the camera lens captures. Well, in fact, I know the camera lens captures things that our eyes cannot see. Entities that are been looking at us all along, paying attention to us, observing us. And so for what's Shell seeing there? This just does Shell say? Because I see something. I see something clearly, but can you see my? No, you can't see my cursor, can you?
No, I can't. Nope.
But
so
on the
what
upper,
I'm going to do, hold on a second. I'll show you what I can see. Give me just a second. I can add a insert.
Upper left.
Whatever.
Wow,
change this to
how
red.
did she see that one? Where the heck is that from same photograph?
I see something right there. This is for me. She didn't say what she saw. She just
yes. Which photograph did she get that from? Is that from my
was off of, this was off of this string right here. So
I'll be dang. There you go, Shell. Shell's got eyes to see. I can see that head as clear as day. Now, a lot of times what I've observed too, now it goes back to this whole thing that these are transparent. And if you know the transparency, notice the transparency of that stacking or that piling or massing of entities. They remind me of like worms or snakes to get together. When snakes mate, or when you get a big handful of worms, I'm sure you have them going fishing, and they all squirm around each other and swirl around each other. But I mean, I can clearly see what you see. That's for sure.
Well, this is right here is what Shell saw. So
yeah, exactly. Is that the same? Because I know I have a different image. It's more detailed. And I saw that exact same thing, Shell. Thank you for finding that, because there's a different picture. It's not even of this one where I saw that. So let's see if I can find that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There's all kinds of, you can argue all day long that this is pareidolia. There's all kinds of a leaf and all kinds of static imagery there that's crossing and stuff, and your eyes can play tricks. But you get, I believe that you can argue a little bit about it, and you also can argue that maybe it's not.
Well, if you got time, I'll share one more picture of it to kind of demonstrate how the freak show that it is out there. In other words, these multiple entities or beings or creatures, spirits. There's my son, my friend Eric. There's my son looking there and going, what the heck? But anyways, he's looking out there, right? And right in this, while he's looking, I take a picture of them, and there's entities right in here. And this thing don't look like no Bigfoot or a dogman. It kind of I don't even know how you describe it. But let's see if we go. That'd be a closer shot of what it is. Let's see if we got one there. Now, what you can see here, you see how dark it is. If you possibly can see this, there's an eye right here. There's an eye right here. This is the black head.
Yeah,
there's his nose. There's his mouth. And there's multiple entities there. And so to me, how do you describe that? It's like a cross between a dog and an ape and
who's he Watsits. So do you think that these spirits, these entities, are they evil in nature, or are they, kind of neutral or good, or all the above?
This is how I see it. I think if you interact with these things improperly, if you try to go too far with it, the wrong ones are going to show up and going to mess up your life. Most of the things I would say are just always have been there, right? And they're just doing their thing. They've always been there, and just watching us, just observing, just being in this interdimensional realm, and are indifferent. Now, we hear about these people that will do these, like summon these things and try to interact with things and try to get something from them. You know what I mean? Make a trade-off. The Bible talks about the groves, and where these people go into the groves, and they would, ended up, they warned you about doing that, taking this too far, practicing maybe the dark arts and all that kind of stuff. I think these things are, for the most part, it's kind of, this is how I see it. They're just like the squirrels and the rabbits and the birds that are flying around. It's just another part of this multidimensional, amazing creation that our Creator has made. But if you take it too far, and let's have an idea like this, and say you're like, what was the guy's name? The grizzly man guy that wanted to have it get mauled in his girlfriend. He took it too far, right? It's one thing to appreciate grizzly bears and film them and document them. It's another thing to try to be their friend and try to think that, one day that grizzly bear is not going to end up being a grizzly bear and just decide to see you as food. You know what I mean? So you got to have your healthy boundaries and all this kind of stuff. Now, I see a lot of people that are maybe taking it a little too far, in my opinion. But I know some people think they're the greatest things in the world as far as Bigfoot and Sasquatch and all that kind of stuff. And other people like myself who've had nothing but negative experiences. Maybe or maybe not. It's like the first encounter I had with that Crow Native American. I wonder sometimes if he actually saved me from the Crow Native American Indian shaman, right? By showing up and popping up. Whether it was intentional or not, I have no idea. I think the power of intent, or we have more amazing power than we realize as far as manifesting things, having things come, summoning these things into existence. And I just think with that, it's dangerous because even those that claim to be the experts and have been doing it for a while, I don't think that we have not only scriptures and holy books about this, but even other books that have been talking about this for generations, about warning us of getting too involved with these things. In other words, trying to get something more out of it than maybe, it's one thing to do research, learn that there exist. It's another thing to try to turn them in pets or something more than that. You know what I mean?
All right.
Bad idea.
Hold on a second. We got Julie S. sent me an email, and let me pull this up. And I think that what she did was she took that particular picture, and that's all I could get out of it. Julie, you had just such a low res on that resolution. That's all I got to get out of it.
Exactly.
So she's seeing what's exactly. Yeah.
She's seeing what I'm seeing, basically, right? There's something there, right? And that dark shadow, it is a shadow. It's interesting that it does somehow interfere with the frequency of light, and in particular when it comes to the camera lens. And the good question is, why can't we see these things with our own naked eyes? That's a good question. And why is it so many times that we actually film these things that when we can't see them, and so many times that people have actually seen them, like myself, I've had numerous sightings and then a couple of encounters, close-up encounters. How come when those things happen, the camera's not there for the most part, and or you can't capture from the camera, or you're not even ready to even do it anyways. So the fact of the matter is, why is it so difficult at times to film these? I mean, to see these things with their naked eyes. It's like right. It's either or. It seems to be the most of the time. So yeah, there's a lot of questions, an absolute lot of questions about what we're dealing with here. And one of my points is that we are calling everything, quote unquote, Sasquatch and Bigfoot, and I really believe that we're dealing with just a multitude of different entities that can be. What if it's
one entity that can change its form at will?
Absolutely.
To glean from you the negative feeling that it wants and needs to survive.
I think at times it is that, and other times it's not that. Right? There's times when I've seen I got to submit next time or whenever. I have some images. You can almost see how they are shape shifting within that still. Then they're changing from looking like maybe very like apish to a human to almost like having a mask, all within the same thing. It's like they move so fast, and their frequency that it's hard even at times for the camera to capture it, a clear image.
Right.
This might be a good example too. Looking at that image, if you could look to like the left of it, it almost looks like there's two images, like it might have moved real fast.
Yeah.
From the
Well,
left to looking directly at
I've
me.
got. I don't have your image up. I've got one that Shell sent. She recolorized it.
Yeah, it's the same entity.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's the exact same entity.
She's wanting to know if you thought it was a gator man or some reptilian or
Hey,
somewhere in between.
that's a great question, Shell. And it is different, isn't it? It doesn't look what your traditional quote unquote Bigfoot would be, right? Or traditional spirits that we've been told about, right? It doesn't look like a gnome, and it doesn't look like a whatever, some kind of, what are the numerous things that they have? I can't even think right now. I'm more focused on this image, but what is it exactly? Is it something? And also, it doesn't look like it's as big as. Well, if you look at it, the original photo, you can kind of get an idea of how big it is, just by the very first. And if you go back to the original, I got it right now where my son's standing. You can see the distance of it is, how high it might be. And we're talking, is this thing crouched down? Is that its normal height? I mean, you can see here, this is where my son is at.
Mhm.
And then there's the tree right here. And if you can see, you can tell that the next big tree, we're talking, 10, 15, 20 feet at least, maybe 30 feet. And then it's sitting right there. And of course, not seeing it. Well, how tall is that thing? Is that thing only 3 feet tall, 2 feet tall, or that range? And is that what its normal height is? Another point here is that we spend so much time focusing on a hairy, primate or something that looks like some Neanderthal, and missing out on all sorts of other things that are around. When I realized that there were more than just one type of entity we're dealing with, it, or a dogman or whatever, it really opened up my eyes to even a bigger reality, right? A bigger realm. Here's Shelly. She's any good. She might be able to find something right here too. You see there? If you capture that, Shelly, there might be something right here. You see two dark looking potential eyes right here. And that, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really looked into it, but the first thought I think of was like a sleeve stack. Maybe these, another example of something that's, the problem is, from what I realize, is that is we're always focused on looking at one type of entity. For instance, given it, so we're looking for a monkey, yet we miss the tiger, the lion, the elephant, the mouse, the bird in the sky. You know what I'm saying? We're missing the big picture by staying so narrowly focused on one thing. And I think as time goes on, it will become self-evident to many people that is the case. And so, it's a freak show. But I think it's one of those things, for me at least, is how I'm approaching it. I'm trying to approach it in a more quote unquote scientific or as an observer, right? I'm not trying to interact with these things. I'm not trying to befriend these things. I'm not trying to gift these things. I'm not trying to do. Yeah, there you go. She's got something there going on. It's pretty dang close to what I see. She sees clearly something. She sees the eyes, the nose. What are these things? Well, one thing it seems clear to me, is that they're interdimensional. And then most times we can't see them without aid of some kind of technology outside of ourselves. Now, there's people out there that claim, who do these out-of-body experiences, right, astral projecting and all that kind of stuff. They say they see, different entities as well. And things that at times would be described as werewolves, dogmen, Bigfoot. Why is it that seances that people have described in the past, seances of something that looks like a Bigfoot showing up in the house where the room is where they're doing the seances? They swear that they saw it. I mean, I don't know how You could prove it without taking a picture. And then, here's the rub. As an experiencer myself, I try to share this stuff with other people. And if you haven't had similar encounters or experiences, it's very hard for you to believe, and rightfully so. Why should you? Honestly,
Oh, yeah.
For me, if I didn't have these experiences and wasn't able to film these things, I would just think it's all rubbish. But there you go. But when you do experience these things, when you do have encounters, when you start filming these things, you start your perspective certainly changes, and you realize that this place is much bigger than the Animal Channel told us, and the Public Fool System told us, and the library told us, for that matter. There's a much bigger world out there. I think that actually, if we approach this in the right way, it demonstrates that there's still more mysteries to be solved, right? There's still people to be, adventurers in new ways. 500 years ago, it was going all over the place, I guess, as colonists would have done, and unfortunately, conquered lands and all that, and the negative side of things. But it was the adventure and then finding these new creatures that, for the most part, a lot of people, say our European ancestors, would have never known much about, right? Or they just would have been in folklore, in some kind of book that's a drawing, right? But now, I imagine with technology and what's going to be happening in the future, and in a generation or two, we'll probably be able to see these things with some kind of aid, or maybe a special type of lens or glasses. I hope we don't take the Neuralink thing. I think that'd be terrible, but maybe there'll be some kind of glasses that we can wear in which we would be able to see even deeper into the realm around us, for better or worse.
Actually, there was, I think during Vietnam, there was a special kind of glasses that was developed, and it was deployed on the United States side of things for the conflict, I guess you would call it. And the fellows that had those things on said they saw demons crawling and walking around, and it drove them nuts. I can't remember the. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's some kind of infrared camera, or
that was it was a set of goggles. It wasn't infrared. It was some sort of goggles that.
Right. Well, it's some kind of in that spectrum, and somewhere in that close to infrared. I'm not sure quite exactly, but whatever it was able to manipulate the frequency or the light spectrum to the point where you could see, like you're saying, things that look like demons, that look like something pretty evil. And a lot of people have talked about this as well without the goggles, who have had visions. And I know I've had a lucid dream when I was visualizing going to the light, or Heavenly Father, right? And going to Heavenly Father. And there were many of these very dark, demonic looking beings swarming around, trying to keep me from, they're like in between me and the light that I wanted to get to. And it was vivid. It was when you have a vivid dream, it's such an imprint on you that even if you open your eyes, you still see it. You probably know
that happened to me this morning. It was like I woke up. I saw in my vivid lucid dream the dead rising, resurrecting. And I woke up and I couldn't shake it. And you mentioning that just kind of threw me right back into it. I was like, oh God, I just got
well, you can't, you think you can, but you can't. Some of those lucid dreams are so vivid, it will stay with you regardless. I mean, it was the irony of that as well, with that dream that I had back in June of last year. Within that same week, I ended up seeing an orb open up. And I remember it was a Tuesday. It was around 1 o'clock in the afternoon in my neighbor's yard. I saw it clear as day, 3 entities. And I saw it open it up. And I'm looking at that and I can't believe what I'm seeing. My jaws dropped and I'm just in shock. And I can't believe what I'm seeing. And so I think part of this, what happens too, is go back to the power of the mind. And also the fact that I do believe that this multi-dimensional realm that we live in, there are entities that hear our thoughts, You know, that's one of the reasons probably we hear about in the Bible, talking about capturing all our thoughts, right? Having control of our thoughts, because it seems like with its power, whether it's ourselves or something else that takes advantage of it and then manipulates our environment in some way, for better or for worse. So here I have this lucid dream in which I'm trying to go to the light, and the light is round, it's a round circle, right? Like the sun or an orb. And there's all these dark entities and these evil looking entities, these scary looking things, right? Just, you can just imagine. And their heads, always these heads, they're always heads. And then disembodied spirits, if you will. And then later on, 12 hours, I would not even, it was 12, maybe 12 to 14 hours later, let's say 13 hours later. That's a number in itself, huh? 13 hours later, an orb, I'm seeing an orb open up in my neighbor's yard with 3 entities in it. And there was 2 in the bottom, 1 at the top, in the middle, like a triangle within the circle. And you can see it's plain as day. And they are dark, very dark, black, really like jet black. And then the orb that was opening up, it was, you can see the rim of the edge of it, right? Like a lasso or like a hula loop or something like that. You know, it's just this edge, you know, you can see the edge of it. You could see it, at least I could, and it's sparkling. It's like some kind of electricity going through the edge of it. And I'm just like, what the heck is happening here? And it, you know, I do believe that we, you know, like for me, when I had experiences last year where I was really focusing on Heavenly Father and the Lord of all spirits and really being vocal about it. And I wasn't intending on having all these things happen to me, but they did happen. So I think there is a connection with our own spirituality and our own, and it was a very positive. You talk about positive eyes, negative eyes, and I'm not a new ager. I have a lot to see. I used to be one long time ago, and I saw the consequence. Someday I'll have to have a conversation about that. What happened to me when I was getting involved with all that stuff before I came to know the Lord. But anyways, yeah, there is this. We do have our thoughts. How we perceive it affects how we perceive things. I do believe there's entities around us that can hear our thoughts, whether we hear them or not. And they, if you think enough, if you tense enough, you focus on it enough, something will happen one way or the other, right? Like you writing your book. If you focus on it long enough, that book's going to be written. Right. If you don't focus on it, it's never going to get written. Right. So
probably right now, I probably have about 2 books written. If I'd probably be disjointed based off of what I've written, what's in my head. You know, if I could peel out what I have in my head, it would fill volumes of Encyclopedia Britannicas. But that being said, thanks to hold on a second. Let me see who sent this email before I start to. Julie S.
You ready?
Yeah, Julie S. No. I'm thanking Julie S. right now for sending in these screen captures, and she circled what she thought she saw. So there you go.
And you look at that, and I do see what she's saying too. And it's another example of how many there are of different sizes. You look at those entities, and you really observe they're not big. They're not big at all. I mean, we're talking maybe the size of a nickel, a penny, maybe the size of a half a dollar. I'm just trying to get some idea of how big these things. You look at the branch that it's the kind of floating or popping out of, or using. I don't know how exactly how they anchor themselves to the trees and absorb the energy of the trees and all that. But it's constant. It's an endless thing, smorgasbord for these things. They live off the life force of other entities, and one of the most powerful life forces in this world outside of ourselves are trees. I mean, many people don't think of them as actually being, living beings because they don't move like a mammal or reptile or bird or whatever, but they are, and they're also they have very unique qualities about them. They remind me in my research that I'm doing lately, once again, about if you look at the image of a black hole and how a black hole works, and it's kind of like wide opening, and then it's like a cone shape, and it's like hourglass shape. And it goes from there back to the other side, right? And look at a tree. Look at a tree, and just kind of visualize the branches being the wide end of one end of the hourglass, the very top of it being the maybe the opening, or vice versa, of a black hole or a portal. And the trunk itself being part of the portal, and then the roots. And we look at the roots, and they go all the way down to the water table and spread. And it really, if you think about like a dumbbell or an hourglass shape, or even if you pay attention to what people visualize black holes work like this, it's a very similar shape. So could the trees themselves be some form of a conduit or a channel or a portal from one that they use to go from one dimension to our dimension, and in which times we then, if the situations are right, people actually see it with their naked eyes or film it. I mean, how many times do we hear about this stuff? People see something, it's only a few seconds and it's gone. Maybe it's a little longer than that. It's very exceptional to have anything that's more than 60 seconds to or more. I mean, this is something that's been well established. So why does that happen, and how does it happen? Why does it run across a road? Which
it's always out of the corner of your eye as well. You see it out of the corner of your eye, not straight on. It's just out of the corner of your eye.
Which now we're dealing again with perspective, and also let's think of light and refraction and light refraction. Now, this is something that they've talked about as well when it comes to black holes and how they work and dimensions. And we've talked about this actually last night on my show, and bring it up again real fast. And that is, you could have a half a dozen people or a dozen people standing in one area, and say something like this happens, and somebody actually sees a Sasquatch, a Bigfoot, or whatever, right? And they see the whole thing. They see the face of another person a few feet away, can only see part of it. Maybe it's a little blurry. Somebody that's maybe 10 feet away is nothing but a silhouette. Somebody that's 20 feet away would see nothing. Same thing with audio as well. One person will hear it, one person won't. And the group of people will all have different. It's just like the classic example of somebody who witnesses a car accident, right? And there's a group of people witness a car accident. They're all going to say something different, and so it goes. It's fascinating, though, how and it really is a big part of this mystery and story is perspective, and how each one of us sees something different. And I do believe that at some point we have to start valuing other people's perspectives. Oh, by the way, I don't know if it's going to happen still, but hey, Jimmy, Appalachian Tales of Terror, he said he wants me on this Saturday, so maybe I'll be on a show.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
I've known him I know him. How long have we known each other, Jimmy? Is 6 years? See, 6 years. Yeah. So
amazing. Michelle had another epiphany and found some more stuff from another screen grab right here. And I have it side by side comparison.
Well, there's definitely something there, isn't there? There's something that just stands out a little different from everything else. Now, is this? I don't believe it's been 6 years. Jimmy says 6 years. Yes. Actually, I lost contact with Jimmy but thanks to your show.
Oh, okay. Well, cool.
It was interesting too, because Jimmy, it was his background with ghost chasing, and I really do believe that we're dealing with something that's spiritual, is interdimensional. I do that they tie in with each other. I think that for my research, that's why I'm so happy to have you share some of your story on my show and learn more about you, Shawn, because near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, these multidimensional realms, it's all connected. And until you guys, this whole woo thing, you just have to drop that whole mind concept. Something I do believe that was put out there to kind of divide us. First put in two camps, which is unnecessary in this research, and there's no need to be in any camp. For pursuing the truth, there's no need to be in a camp. There's how about the camp truth? And on top of that, then you look at that, you say, okay, if you push away the woo and look at the science, because there's lots of science behind it that people don't talk much about. Some do, but most, they really don't talk about it. And I discovered that it's going to, at least for me, part of my journey is not only do I have to learn about what Bigfoot is and Dogman are, and what I learn about spirits and quantum, a little bit of quantum physics. You don't have to be a quantum, a physicist, but the basic ideas of it, right? In the interdimensional realms, and what are people actually, other people that we normally wouldn't associate with, right? People that maybe they've convinced us that we're like enemies or something, especially, that you and I were Christians, Shawn, but somebody else might not be, and maybe they practice something that's we've been told not to get involved in, rightfully so. But that doesn't mean that they don't have insight to help us all to see a clearer picture, right? So it's hearing from other people's perspectives, I think is extremely important to this. There's a certain point when in this research that you say, okay, I've heard 1,000 different scary stories, and they are entertaining, and we love stories, and that's how we're geared. But if you want to know more, you have to get deeper. You got to look at other fringe or other studies to bring it in and have more clear picture of it. So if it's going to be like like your near-death experiences, what you're seeing is an important part of the story. So not only is your own story, but I truly believe it's part of the big picture. The big picture, beyond whether Bigfoot is real or Dogman is real. Because people, when you finally get into this stuff, you're going to realize not only Bigfoot is real and Dogman are real, and aliens are real, but a whole lot of other things are real too.
All the above. But I think the cultures throughout time, way before you and I were ever thought of, centuries ago, describe the same stuff that we're seeing. Maybe Dogman was way back when, and they, wound up describing it a different way. In the only way they could during the time to compare, it looked like a dog or it looked like a cow or whatever. It's just a spirit that assumed a shape to scare the living crap out of you.
No kidding. And let's think about this, Shawn. It's 2023, and we're still struggling with that. So what makes us think that they didn't have that as well? In their own way. So we're still trying to figure out what we're looking at, you know what I mean? Because once we realize there's more than just the images that the official narrative has been presented to us, that there's more entities out there than just that, it becomes, wow, there's a lot more going on.
There's plenty more going on. I don't think any one of us has a perfect grasp on what is actually happening out there. We have our own little, thing that makes reality not crazy. We can control, our ability to not go crazy and say, oh my God, this can't be. I think there's a lot of insane asylums that they got exposed to the truth, and it messed with their touch reality. Like, I can't believe you can't unsee some stuff, and it just drove them nuts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's something very spiritual about it. And there are people who have been doing research about this, that it's more than just medications that helps these people, is when they start focusing on something different, because these things will cause us to do nothing but focus on them all the time. And that can be very dangerous. Just think about if they had we call them schizophrenics, right? And they see these entities and these voices all the time. Those who have learned healthy ways to stop thinking about or listening to them, whether it's positive affirmations or focusing on religion or reading the Bible or whatever, it's just that changes for them. You know what I mean? It minimizes it. It starts to influence the voices and the images, and it changes that. And there's some pretty strong evidence that if you can learn how to refocus your mind on something different, a different topic, right? That it will loosen the bonds of these entities, whether they're archon spirits or whatever. So that's the other thing to learn about this, is that there has to be a healthy balance with what we're doing here as well.
I can't do the I can't breathe, live, and eat, Bigfoot, Dogman, ghost, demonic and stuff that I talk about. Once I get off this show, I pretty much just, I can't say I do it every show that I hop off. I don't talk about or consume any of the stuff. I usually go and watch MASH to get this stuff out of my head.
MASH of all things. Okay.
Yeah, MASH. There's some other stuff I'll watch. There's YouTubers.
My hometown, Toledo. the mud
I'll
hens.
watch retro computer stuff on YouTube and junk like that. Kind of decompress from all this stuff. You just can't consume this 24/7. It will just absolutely drive you insane. I know some people that do that, and some of them I love to death. Some of them I'm like, you need to change your focus a little bit. Take a breather every once in a while. There's days, I have taken days off from doing the show just because I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't approach doing a show because it was eating me alive. It was making me feel off, to say the best thing I could say about it. You just can't consume it and live this stuff. And obviously all these shows are talking about negative stuff. Say Dogman. What is the attraction of Dogman? Scary shit.
Right.
Okay, great. And then you get a lot of people that have, believe it beyond belief that Dogman's real. And, you get into the nuances of, is it spiritual? Is it a living flesh creature? Get into that side of the equation. Then you get all the people that, think it's a story and it's a scary story, and they kind of mesh together. But you can't live that stuff all the time. You're inviting demonic stuff into your life. You just can't do that.
You are. And I think that's, although I would also say that for a person like me, it led me to God. So they think this could happen too, right? So it's a mixed bag, but yeah, you have to be more balanced about everything in life, right? It becomes this obsessive nature, infatuation, if you will, in a more kind of sick way. It can be very negative. So if you have more balance, and if you're like, okay, if thinking about other stuff, so like going into more about the science, the quantum physics, instead of, or something else, something completely different. Maybe it's more spiritual, or maybe, understanding the nature of and identifying trees and the true nature of trees and the fauna and all that, I think is a valuable thing, and in which it changes your perspective on things when you think outside the box instead of staying so narrow focused on the one thing, right? Especially when it's negative, especially if it's something that potentially can actually do harm to you internally, spiritually, and emotionally, intellectually. So yeah, broaden your horizons, because you see it's different people and how they approach. But I notice a lot of people we call me old hats, old timers, who've been doing this for years. Maybe started out more balanced about it. Maybe some of them have never even seen it, but they've been serious about the research. They broaden their horizons. They look beyond the scary story or the entity itself, but the bigger picture. What's going on around us? It's even deeper than the entity that we're not supposed to believe exists.
All right. Well, sometimes you just have to realize that you got to say, God, I don't understand it. Is it for me to understand? And then call on the power of Jesus to wash all that stuff away or give you the understanding you need. Sometimes you don't need to understand.
And by the way, on the confessional, right, which I just posted in your chat a while ago, is the terror in the LBL, right? And is this ex-police officer and his experience with quote unquote a dogman or a werewolf or whatever, and he brings up the fact that he starts praying and calling upon the name of Heavenly Father in the name of Jesus and all that, and then this thing is still going after him. He shoots 2 rounds and it just evaporates. It disappears. It's a very sane, sober man. When you listen to him, you realize he doesn't have a screw loose, and he is sharing a very profound story. If you listen to it all the way through, not just for the scary part, but the deeper meanings. I mean, you're going to see some things that the correlation, at least that he sees, and other people have been doing this a while, between dogmen and Bigfoot and werewolf and aliens and all that, and how they're UFOs and all that, and it's because they're all interconnected. They really are. It's once you do this a while, you realize there's just no way it cannot be. And that's when what becomes strange about this whole thing. And this is where you start to see that the powers that be have trying to divide us in camps, so that it has to be solely flesh and blood, or it has to be the woo thing, when there's so much more? And we don't have to elongate.
I think it's all the above. And what if it is all the above, or what if it's a little tidbit here and it's a whole lot of that there? At the end of the day, do you want to invite this crap in your backyard or in your house? No, you don't.
I don't.
No. Well, there might be some people who say, yeah, I want to go out and get the knowledge of seeing these things straight up. And I know some people that have seen it, and I absolutely believe they have encountered these things. I mean, Mike, you're one of them. I don't need to experience that myself.
No, you don't
need to. It's called faith in your fellow Christian, faith in your friends and your loved ones to say, yeah, okay, that's great. I'll just use the knowledge that you have gifted me and say, I don't need to go out there. I appreciate you sharing that I don't have to go out and experience that. And if you do experience it, at least you got that knowledge to deal with it a little bit better than, well, holy cow, what in the world just popped in front of me? Oh my God, that's got big freaking teeth and growling.
Right. And let's just think about this. In reality, the vast majority of encounters and experiences were from people that were not out deliberately looking for in the first place. So you really don't have to. Just by living your life, going out in the woods and camping, hanging out in the park or wherever, you're going to end up at some point in your existence in this physical realm having an encounter one way or the other. So I think maybe the bigger issue is, or what might be more productive for an individual, is see the bigger picture. Look at different perspectives. Look at what different people are saying to help you to see clearly what might be really going on. Because this stuff will own you. It definitely does. I mean, I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in many other people that would call themselves investigators or whatever, researchers or whatever. And next thing you know, all you can do is you have to get out in the field every single day. And you forget about paying your bills, and you forget about, all the other parts of life, you know what I mean? Interacting with other people. I don't know. It does happen. It really does
happen. Okay, Mike, what I need to do is go ahead and finish up with my 911 calls that I had recorded and all this other stuff. I appreciate you jumping in and sharing your knowledge, which is vast, and the little bit of evidence that you did share. I know you've got tons of it, but I would definitely have you back on my show again. And then,
I wasn't planning on
speaking
this long, my brother. I just wanted to
that's
share.
All right. That's all right, brother. I appreciate you jumping on.
Just like you're with me on my show. Everyone's supposed to be with me. I'm just going to do this for an hour. They did have to
Next
be
thing was 2.5 hours later. Yeah.
It's good therapy to talk about this stuff, especially when you have your experiences. So thanks, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, brother. You have a good one. God bless you, man.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay. That was Mike, Old Religion Dystopia, right there. Go over there and Mike, if you don't mind, just go ahead and drop your link to your YouTube show and whatever else you want to drop in there. But I am going to go back and finish up what, let's see, we just went over to Cleveland County 911 Bigfoot call. So if you just joined in, my name's Shawn Graham, and you're listening to Chasing the Truth on the YouTube channel I've got. Hopefully soon to go back to not only Facebook, but over on Twitter as well, as soon as I get all the particulars up and running over there. So let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. Next one up is 911 Big. I think this one's 8 minute long. I don't know if I'm going to listen to the whole thing, but there's somebody, two people on this calls 911. Now, if you haven't heard anybody call 911, these people sound, they're like, he sounds sober. The guy probably is not sober, but we'll see. Hold on just a second. I'll grab the.
San Antonio 911, do you need police, fire, or EMS? I'm not real sure, ma'am. I just watched the biggest it was a critter, but it smelled real bad. I'm a homeless female. I live right in the middle of the woods, around 151 to the north of Claver on 1604 where the light is. This big thing was 75 feet away from me, smells awful, devoured a whole deer carcass and then took off and, like, screamed, screeched, and took off across the street. And I know you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I'm dead serious. There was something very big, a lot bigger than me, out here. So, it's probably somebody should know. I really don't know what you can do about it. How long ago did this happen? I won't, like, immediately. Like, yeah. I don't know. Animal control, I mean, it's...
Okay, again, now tell me, where was it? This is at 151 in Calabria?
Okay, yeah, like, you know, the light at 151, just up from Calabria on 1604, where 1604 split, and you can get off on the access road to Calabria, or you can take 151. Right. That light right there is, yes, right in there. It is a very large, hairy animal of some kind.
Okay, so this lady to me, you know, calling in 911 sounds very sober to me. Doesn't sound like she's high or anything like that, or, you know, having a hallucination. Sounds like she's giving a really good description of what she had just seen. Oh, just a second. What did I jump? Oh, there you go. So that being said, I believe just based off what I've heard, one of the things I used to do in my other life before I lost my left leg and had this big experience with God, my near-death experience, was I was in the medical field and I interviewed patients, and you kind of for medical reasons, and you get this like a BS filter, like, oh yeah, ding ding ding, that's BS. You can't drink that much beer. And it turns out, majority of the time they're telling the truth when they actually tell you that they're drinking a party ball a night. But that being said, let's go back and finish this one little thing. I do believe her description for sure. And there's a guy that's going to jump on here in just a little bit and finish this out.
Now, was it standing on 2 or 4?
Well, I told you it was standing on 2 legs. You're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm serious. It ran off at breaking limbs and trees. And it kind of screeched, howled, and a very creepy, scary thing. Because, like I said, I live in a tent. We're in the woods. So,
You live in a tent?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a homeless female. I live in a tent in the woods, and I just saw this freaky, scary, very large creature devour a deer and run off across the road. So, I don't know.
Is there any way that we can have an officer contact you?
Yeah, I guess it's this number. But I'd really prefer, like, animal control or somebody bigger than me. But I appreciate it. I just thought somebody should know that there's a very large animal in the vicinity.
Now, the deer was walking around and...
the deer was dead. And it got devoured.
Jimmy, Screech Owl sounds like my mother-in-law. Oh, my Lord. Well, my ex-mother-in-law, she was an interesting character, and I could possibly make some coy jokes about that, but she was a good lady, no doubt about it. But yeah, this lady was terrified, and she's like, please send some help, send out somebody bigger than me out here to see what's going on with this thing. Wow. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, to show you that not everybody's going to jump on the podcast and say, hey, I saw this thing. Some people call 911 and say, hey, y'all, there's something down here, and it's ripping up the woods around me, and I'm scared, and my life's in danger.
It was a carcass.
Okay, and do you see signs of a dead deer, blood, or whatever?
Actually, ma'am, I'm not gonna go check it out right at the moment. Is that okay?
That's fine.
I'm waiting for daylight. I don't own anything but a machete and a hatchet, so I'm kind of freaked out. I just thought, like I said, I thought somebody should know there's a very large something big enough to.
So she's got a machete and a hatchet, and she's like, that ain't enough. You need send somebody. My machete and hatchet. And I'm just a little lady with a machete and hatchet. It ain't working. I just don't feel safe. So she's calling 911 to get this situation taken care of or feel a little safer.
Fear and as a
Are you
predator.
with someone there?
Yes, ma'am.
Did they see it too?
Yes, ma'am.
How about if I have an officer contact you guys out there?
I'm not gonna leave my camp right at the moment. I mean, if they want to come look at the light, she wants an officer to meet us. Right, Carol. We're not leaving where we're at, is what we're trying to say. I'm a little bit scared, and it's raining, and I just want somebody to maybe check it out in the morning when it's not dark.
Well,
Animal control, dude.
what I can do right now is I can have an officer patrol that area. Which direction did it run?
It ran across the light at 151, like towards the water tower on 2 feet, like my husband said. Just wanted to make the documentation and have animal control.
Had you ever seen or heard anything like this before?
No, ma'am. No, I've lived in the woods for a while. I've lived in the woods for 6 years. I'm going to tell you right now.
Now this fellow sounds like he's a little tipsy or something, maybe a little something on board, but they're corroborating each other. So here we go.
In the woods for 6 years. I swear to God, I've never seen nothing like this. This was bigger than me. And it had a very odd smell. I'm 6'3". I'm 6'3". It's bigger than me. So, yeah. It's bigger than 6'3". Yeah. It's very large. I carried the carcass off. Yeah.
What did he say?
He carried the carcass off. I mean,
he carried it.
With nothing. Like, just, I want to believe that it was a large cat or bear, but I'm thinking, I'm not going to tell you what I think it is.
What does he think it is?
What do you think it is? Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know. I would be a liar if I said I thought I knew what it was, but I don't know. But I know it picked up that deer and walked with 2 feet. Yeah. It's a very large something that smells bad and is bigger than we are. So.
Okay, so you saw it walk in which direction, or walk in which direction?
Towards the light at 151 and 1604. Went towards the water tower. Went towards the water tower area. And it screeched, howled, yelled. Yeah. When it went up, I mean, my husband's a very large, nothing's ever scared him, ever. And, I mean, saw it too. We both saw it, so. It's good. No
type of clothing, or?
No, it was for,
okay.
Or, as far as I can tell, I mean, it's pretty light.
Now, if the fellow, the guy that's in the background, kind of, saying, yes, this happened and it's big and it carried this carcass off on 2 legs. If he called in without the little lady, then, I don't know. But this lady makes this whole conversation or this report to 911 believable to me, without a doubt. I'm thinking this is probably in the 90s. I've heard this about 2 or 3 times. I have not found the source of it, where this came from. Now, the first one from Cleveland County, North Carolina, I actually had a story, and I had 2 different dates from 93 and 2010, I think was the 2 dates. Whichever one it is, I don't know. But let's finish this out. It's only got about another minute and a half or less.
Night out, because of the overcast, and we doused our fire, and I have a blanket thing hung up as a tapestry, and it's saw it over the top of that, and when it ran, it cracked branches. Trees. Yes, birds. Like the size of a grizzly bear. Imagine that. One of those steroids with 2 feet. So, you know, 2 feet, Mama. I know. I didn't know what.
Okay. And did you, and what is your name?
Jennifer. Yeah, it's raining now and we can't hear nothing outside. It's kind of scary. Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll have an officer patrol that area and see what we can find.
I know. I mean, you guys might be able to find something. Animal control might be able to find tracks or something.
Good night, Jimmy Barton. For the folks out in the chat, join Appalachian Tales Terror with Jimmy Barton. You know, grab Jimmy, if you leave, if you ain't left yet, drop a link to your YouTube channel and all the other particulars that you need to wind up and share with us. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for dropping by. And Big Cole, thanks for the tip that you sent. I appreciate that. Cash App tip. I appreciate that. So let's finish this off with about less than 30 seconds.
I mean, it's hard to find tracks on this area. She said she's going to send a patrol around the area. So, right. And yeah, she can call. Get the light and go. Get the light. Get the light. And sound the siren. And sound your siren. They'll come out of the woods. And talk to you. I'm scared to death, Pete.
So go in with the sirens and lights and we'll come out of the woods. Holy cow. Now, obviously, if they're that scared to say, hey, I ain't coming out without sirens and sirens. Did I say so? Yeah, sirens and lights. Holy cow. Can you believe that? To call 911, I know a lot of people will call 911 at a drop of a hat. How they don't get in trouble doing that all the time, but there you go. So, Destiny Campbell's in the house. What's up? We are listening to 911 Bigfoot Ford calls, and we just got finished with a Baxter County call from, I think, probably the late 90s, early 2000s. If I remember, I don't remember correctly, but that's just me, trying to figure out where the heck that came from or what time frame anyway. But there you go. What do you guys believe this lady and the her significant other that's a little bit inebriated? She sounds like she's perfectly sober and scared crapless. And Destiny says, oh, interesting. I love listening to bizarre dispatch calls. Oh, man, I love these old stuff. Big Cole's got a number 1. Yes, Joanne, I do. I believe it. There's one story I haven't shared. Let's go ahead and let me pull this up. That what do I do with it? Okay, here we go. Let me share the screen out here with y'all. And I think this is one of those tongue-in-cheek. If you ever looked or watched the news or, whatever, you come across these stories where they kind of do tongue-in-cheek about this is not Bigfoot. Stop calling 911. And of course, you got this Bigfoot statue. And of course, this is probably pretty close to, I would say, a thoroughfare or some way. Over in North Carolina, people have been calling animal control in North Carolina to report sightings of Bigfoot in the wooded area. But local officials assure them, that what they're seeing isn't real. Davie County Animal Shelter posted this to their Facebook page last week. That callers were actually seeing an 8-foot-tall wooden statue resembling Bigfoot with eyes that appeared to glow at night. The shelter said Monday the statue is one of several carvings sitting on private property east of Statesville. Shelter all shared a photo of the carving and asked people driving on a nearby road at night to stop calling to report seeing Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or any other large creature. And this is from 2019. Of course, you get all these interesting tongue-in-cheek kind of deals where they don't, if they do mention Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or whatever UFO thing, it's always under like a half laugh or a full laugh, and grinning from ear to ear, like, yeah, we're doing this story. We're getting paid to do this story, and it's funny. And I kind of wonder. This is the reason these types of stories. This is the reason why you don't get people that have these experiences to come forward. They just belittled a whole lot of people, saying, "Hey, don't call 911, but call us. Looky here, we got a big statue to prove this is where all these sightings are coming from." So that's one of the reasons, if not a multitude of reasons, why people don't share their stories. They won't want to lose their job. Levi from North Carolina lost his job because he discussed sighting a male and a female Bigfoot parent couple with a baby Bigfoot Sasquatch, seeing it with his girlfriend one night on the property where he worked. Reported it the next day and got fired. Summarily got fired. So, of course, you're not going to share that crap. Well, Levi, if you ever do want to call back in, buddy, I would love to talk to you. If you ever do listen to this thing. Called Chasing the Truth. But, yeah, there you go. It's interesting, to say the least. Let's see. Fatigue. Okay, well, there you go. And then Destiny says, I could post the news links for the Sasquatch napping ordeal in my county. It's hilarious, but I figured I'd ask first. Well, you got a wrench. Post away. Anybody's got a wrench. Majority of people that frequent my shows generally have a wrench. But go right ahead. I would love to see it. I would pull it up if you drop it in the chat there, Destiny. Shawn, that makes sense. It's sad to think that they are afraid. Yeah. It's like ghost stories. How many people that's reputable, has, are stone cold sober, that they do ghost story? What the heck? Hold on just a second. Let's take a look, see at what Miss Destiny. Well, my chat's not caught up over here. Let me pull these links that Miss Destiny has dropped in the thing here. Holy cow. It's going to take me a second to grab that link here. Let me see. Copy. Nope. Let me grab the link from over here. For whatever reason, my chat is like a bazillion minutes behind. So let me let that chat catch up, and I'll grab that link, and we'll take a look-see at this. Well, let's go to the next one. Oh, crap, son of a gun. Let's go to the next one. Here's Bigfoot 911. And the one thing that I have heard, I've heard this about 3 or 4 times, and this guy calls in 911.
What are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
Did you see what it was? Was it a person or an animal or?
I can't tell. All I know is that my central light came on and I just happened to glance and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man or something. It looks like a man. I don't know what it was, just that it ran across the yard.
Okay. You've had problems in the neighborhood before?
Yeah, my dog was killed here just recently. I don't know what it was. Whatever it is, it's running. I couldn't catch it if I was going to chase it. But whatever it was standing up. I'm out here looking through the window now and I don't see anything. I don't want to go outside. Jesus Christ, you better...
Sure.
Dia!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
And I just got your text and I read it, and yes, ma'am, I will absolutely do that for you. Without a doubt.
Son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh. Okay, hang on.
He's right...
Is he in your yard, sir?
Yeah, God, he's big.
Okay, what's he doing in your yard?
He's looking at me.
Oh, and the guy is on foot.
I don't know what... It's a big real big person. That's all I can say.
Okay, but it is a person.
Yeah, I'd say it was a person, somebody really big. But he's all in black.
Is he a black male or a white male? Did you actually see whether, or was he just wearing black?
He's all black and he's big. He is big.
And he is big. Holy cow. I think there's an addendum to this call where this guy says it attacked his dog and throws his dog across the yard too. But holy smokes. Now, that being said, how many of these calls? Yeah, I've heard this one too, Arlene. This is all over TikTok. When I went through and I said, well, I was trying to find one particular call that I hadn't heard in quite a while. I couldn't find it. And this last one I just shared with you was all over TikTok. People were just crazy sharing this out. I'm like, okay, all right, that's cool. There's a ton of others out there. But give me just a second, Destiny. I said I was going to share the links that you grab this link here, and then we'll pull it up here, and we'll see what are you sure you want to? No. I don't want to do that. Hold on, just yeah. Okay, I'm in the right browser. Thought I was about ready to leap out of my other stuff. Yes, I do want to go to that site. Thank you very much. All right. Aha. So give me just a second and we'll share this screen out that Destiny in the chat was kind enough to share with us. And I haven't read it. Hopefully we'll get some interesting stuff. And I got the other link as well that we'll pull up here in just a second. So 6 foot tall. What in the heck is this? All right, we'll get that out of the way. 6 foot tall Bigfoot statue found in Avery County woods. There is the same stinking Bigfoot statue is probably about 10 miles from me. I've got a picture of myself next to it. It's on Jefferson National Forest land. So it says statue of Bigfoot has been found in Avery County woods months after it was reported stolen. Avery County Sheriff's Office posted Facebook February. Gee whiz. Read, Shawn. Wednesday, that 6 foot tall, 180-pound statue, which had been stolen from Mountaineer Landscaping in Linville in August, was found in a wooded area in Edgemont community. So there's the pictures. So what stole this particular? Let's see. We Phil. Oh, gee whiz. My Amazon assistant decided to chime in for whatever reason that was she was talking about. We feel that Sasquatch seemed unharmed, released in such a remote area. The thieves either had to change a heart or found out that having a Sasquatch was just more difficult than thought. That's an interesting story. Say the least there. Next one up, let's go ahead and see. Let's go ahead and paste this and get this other one. Yes, I do want to go to that website. From WBTV, massive Bigfoot statue stolen from a business in North Carolina. All right, so we've got this, and let's go ahead and play.
Hawk, in the North Carolina mountains tonight, the search is on for Bigfoot. I mean, not the real Bigfoot. We all know the only photos of him are blurry and grainy, right? But we do have a clear picture of the Bigfoot they are looking for. A special 8-foot statue that was stolen from a landscaping company. People are on the lookout across the nation tonight, and WBTV Steve Enesorge has a story for you now from Avery County.
It's a crime that has Avery County on edge.
Very, very gutsy.
Well, maybe not on edge, but bewildered for sure.
It was kind of shocking.
This guy, Bigfoot, not the real thing. A statue was stolen right from the front of Mountaineer Landscaping early Saturday. Store manager Glenna Ollis gave us these pictures of the big fella. He'd become sort of an icon and photo op magnet in recent years.
He's popular. Everybody loved him.
The statue stood right here, 8 feet tall, hundreds of pounds, and bolted down.
Yes. They had to come prepared to take him up.
They figure a pickup or larger truck was needed to haul him away. The sheriff's office got this photo from a sighting yesterday.
In 40 plus years of driving, I've never seen a Sasquatch in the back of a truck.
But 3 people said they did. Unfortunately, says owner Terry Brewer,
it wasn't our Sasquatch.
The folks here just want the Bigfoot bandits to bring their big guy back.
No questions asked.
But understand this, they say, that statue was worth thousands. So if you're caught by the law, the criminal penalties, they could be serious. Sheriff Kevin Fry says felony charges await them. They'll be in a lot of trouble.
They'll be in a lot of trouble.
For now, all they have left here are the Bigfoot wind chimes and memories of better days.
He's really lovable.
They want their Bigfoot back.
Because he's part of the family.
Even if he's not the real thing. Or is he? In Avery County, Steve Onesorge, WBTV on your side.
So what?
Whether it was a prank or theft, authorities say they want the statue returned. So if you saw anything suspicious at that landscaping business, please call the sheriff's.
That's a funny story, but it was also, I think there was a secondary reason, to make sure people don't come forward and say, "Hey, I saw a Bigfoot in my backyard," or "I saw this. It attacked my vehicle or ran me out of the woods," or whatever. So. This is one of the reasons why people don't come forward. But there you go. Thank you, Destiny, for posting those links. I drive past this damn thing all the time. They put a Santa hat on him during the holidays. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I've got the same, I don't have the same statue. Down the road about 10 miles, like I said before, there is a much larger version of that statue. It's probably about 10 feet tall in the Jefferson National Forest, and it's concrete down. As far as I know, it hasn't went missing. It's part of pretty close to the Flag Rock area where I live. So, interesting. So, do you believe these 911 calls? If you, folks in the chat, if you had some sort of interesting Bigfoot encounter, dogman encounter, where your life was threatened and you didn't have the appropriate lead injectors or sharp machetes or what have you, they put a mask on the statue. They did. Okay, that's cool. And let's see, since it's returning, it's now concreted and chain bolted on the ground. Oh, wow. They don't want that thing to go, huh? That is impressive. Hey, Parkway, appreciate you dropping in. Let's see if I got another 911 call. Let's see, I've already done the Bigfoot. Ma'am, yep, sure did. Let's go for the next one. Cleveland, already done that one. Oh, that Cleveland. Every time here we go. Yeah, I think I did. Well, I'll play this again. It's only 36 seconds since there's a few people probably have not heard this one. This is from Pennsylvania, and it is a dispatcher reporting or having a conversation about a Bigfoot sighting that an officer needs to go check.
Yeah, Mr. Winesickle, 97th Spruce Street. Negative. CE called one advising he contacted the Game Commission and called back. He wants a police officer to come to his residence. He apparently has some proof there of Bigfoot. Bigfoot, right? That's affirmative. He has evidence of proving Bigfoot. He would like a police officer to come there.
Okay. So obviously the cops have heard of Bigfoot over there and what have you. So do anybody that is a part of a law enforcement or have a law enforcement in their family, I'm sure they get these, these calls. What do they do with these calls? Do they log them? Obviously they have to log them if they actually go out and look at it. But let's see. Mike says, Yes, I do. No sane person will call the police unless they experienced something they believe to be real. Absolutely. Yeah. Why wouldn't you? If you feel threatened, that's what the law is supposed to be able to do to help protect and serve. I think that's on majority of the buildings and other vehicles that are out there. Protect and serve, probably on the badges and stuff. So they have to fill out a report, Callis says. Yeah, I believe they do. Now, do they overlook it if they get a call? Or would they have to if they get a 911 call? Is there a way to, de-escalate or, put it on, well, we don't need to see that, it's a Bigfoot report. Do they log them and just follow away? I don't know. And Shell says, my ex posted right outside J.W. Corbett Wildlife Management Area, 24-year sheriff. He never received one of those calls or heard of it. He would have told me. And he questioned the park ranger. Okay. There we go. And you kind of wonder, have you ever talked or spoke with, obviously there's, majority of folks, with the exception of maybe one I saw earlier, probably kind of puts this into the area of fantasy, and they kind of gloss it over and they just don't listen. Bigfoot, okay, whatever, that's movie crap. Have you ever been in front of somebody that, they witness something supernatural out of this world, like a Bigfoot, dogman, ghost, UFO, portal opening up in front of you? Let's see. What is this? Big John post. Let me check and see. Hold on just a second. Let me check and see what this is. I gotta turn the audio off here to where I know I can't hear it unless I have it on. So give me just a second. Let me pop this in here. I can review it real quick. The Bigfoot attack recording, top secret recordings of horror 5 minutes, 13 seconds, something dark and scary. Okay, well, obviously this is, let's go ahead and just play it. If I get a ding, I get a ding. No big deal. It's not like I'm getting paid for this thing. So here we go. I'm in the right one. Hold on just a second. Let me make sure. Chris. Yeah, okay.
Hello, this is Sheriff Thompson speaking. Hey, buddy. Hey there. Are you drinking, Gary? I got Bigfoot. He was in my yard, Gary. I'm not coming out there again. I'm in the woods with my dog. I got my dog with me. Gary, what did I tell you about this? What did I tell you about calling here with your stories? God damn it. This ain't no story. You better not be drinking, Gary. I had a few. No, Gary. You smell the balls like that. I smell it. Stinks real bad. He's out here. Sheriff Thompson, you need to come out here.
Now, here's my thing on this. Bukus for sharing this out. That recording has underlying mood B-roll sounds to it. So that being said, why they add that, I don't know. Why can't they just play it without that burn thing? But here we go.
Oh, Jesus, that. He killed my dog, that. Sheriff, get your ass down here. God damn it, Gary. I'm not falling for your escapades. Shit. There's no Bigfoot. Gary, you hear me? Gary. You just need to calm down, all right? You hear me? Hello? Yeah, I hear you. You don't have to do that. think about shooting your gun. But what it did to my dog, I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna get my gun.
Okay, so here's my twist. I don't have to listen to the rest of this. I agree with Shell. I think this is pretty freaking scripted. I heard something earlier today that I was like, oh, that sounds like a pretty cool thing, and listen to it. It's like, wait a minute. No, this was AI talking. You know, two AI bots talking to each other about this stuff. And it sounded scripted to me, but I'll listen to it just a little bit longer. But this sounds like it's creepypasta to me.
Yeah, get my gun inside. So, I'm gonna get my guns. I'm gonna get my guns. All right. Yeah, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I hit it. I hit it.
No, you didn't. That's fake. I ain't playing no more. I appreciate I appreciate you sharing that with me. Shit or not. Yeah. That is fake as fake can be. That was no gunfire over a phone. That's just that's just creepypasta. Is that supposedly a Bigfoot attack? Apparently so there, Cheryl. That is supposedly a Bigfoot attack. And if you let me grab the YouTube here and we'll post it. If you want to listen to its entirety, you're more than welcome, but I think I've heard enough personally. And seeing this on my show. Now I appreciate you sharing it. I just think that is fake as all get out. But if you want, the link is in the chat there. If you want to listen to the entire thing, be my guest. Now, that was not gunfire. That coughing was, that was fake coughing. Now, my professional opinion, where I was a respiratory therapist, I know what coughing sounds like. That was fake coughing. Joanne just sent me something. Hold on just a second. Joanne, I appreciate you sending me something. Let's see what she has sent. Bigfoot caught in her hometown. Give me just a second. All right. Yeah. Okay. Krampus caught and Bigfoot caught. Okay. I will share this out, Joanne. I will. So let me copy this one and put it into my Photoscape thing here. Paste that one going. Really? At least I can do this easy. And thank you, Joanne, for sharing this. This is kind of tongue-in-cheek, but I don't have any problems with tongue-in-cheek. At least it's not being sold as real. So, and we got a phone call. Give me just a second, caller, and we'll get you live on the air here. You're live on the air. What's your name? Where are you from?
Just a second.
Hello. Give you a second. All right, you got 5 seconds. Well, anyway, thanks to Joanne for sending in this Krampus thing over here. Whoever this is on the phone. All right. I will share the other one out, and if the fellow doesn't jump on the phone, by then I'll hang up. Let's get this other one here from Joanne. Copy image and then pop it in here. And let's turn this upside down. There she goes. And he decided he didn't want to talk, so that's all right. Stage fright is what I say. But that was caught in her town. That's a scary Krampus, yep. Okay, we got apparently the fellow's home back. And give me just a second and we'll get you popped back in. What's your name and where you're from? Hello. Going once. Going twice. Sold. All right. So whoever is from area code 207, you need to talk on the phone, or I'll keep hanging up on you. But hey, it is what it is. It might have tech issues. Yep, it may have tech issues. Absolutely. You know, can't have dead air listening for dead air as the second time. So, that being said, let's see. Do I have any more? Well, hold a second. I might have a stashed couple recordings that don't happen to. Let's see. Do. Hold on just a second. Let me see. I might have a couple of videos that I can share real quick. Cloudy sky, cryptid. Okay, here's one. I'm not. I can't. I don't know about the authenticity of what I'm about ready to show you. So I'm on the fence whether this is real or not real, and I will share this with you. Whoever's from 207, if you want to call back in, feel free to call back in. Just dare can't deal with it. So give me just a second. We'll share the screen here. And here we go. Now, this is from more disturbing activity by the entity. And this is from, I think, Smug Puppy over on, hold on a second. Give me just a second and get you back on the air. Okay, and hung up. Okay, area code 207. You hung up on me that time. So cool. Let's go back to. Okay, got that one. All right, this is from Smug Puppy over on TikTok. Let's go ahead and play this. And nope, that's the wrong one. Let me get rid of this thing. I got too many things opened. All right, here we go.
Yeah, we should just stop knocking on the doors all the time. No, just keep like doing things and stuff. He's there! He's there! He's here!
Okay, so I'm going to go back here and replay that right there.
Yeah, we should just stop knocking on the doors all the time. No, just keep like doing things and stuff. He's there! He's there! Yeah. He's here! What's wrong with that? Get the camera. I didn't see anything.
I thought you would have seen it. Nothing here. Literally nothing.
Gate's locked.
Yeah.
Well, the gate's bolted.
Yeah, the gate's broken shut. That one's not ours, but didn't open. Oh no. My god, no, there's literally nothing.
What do it look like?
Like a wolf type.
Okay, we'll go back here and hit. Let me get really close here so we can see this a little bit better. Haunted Scotland. I think they're from Scotland. Smug Puppy. Here. Let's out again.
We should just stop knocking on the doors all the time.
No, just keep like lifting bins and stuff. He's there! He's there!
Let me slow this down real quick.
We should just stop.
Okay, I turned the audio down. This is half speed, and we'll go frame by frame. Is this a real thing or not? I've seen several videos of this particular account. Smug Puppy has a lot of entities, and some of it looks a little bit CGI-ish. But if they're doing that, now the one thing they need to do, in my opinion, is, one, if they're doing it to get clicks, it's possible. But they need to, get rid of this stuff. Now, if this is actually real, they need to start praying to Jesus and rebuking this thing. Pretty much. That's my opinion on it. But yep, I agree with you. It looks a little CGI-ish. Shawn, Joanne was trying to call in saying dead air, no sound on her end. Really? That's interesting. Let me double check and get this thing going here. Let me remove that and stop that. Let me check and see if everything was right on my end. It may, well, no, it should have done this. Hold on just a second. Let me go to Skype and go to Skype settings and see if I had the correct. Go ahead and call back in if that was Joanne from 207. There. I think I've got it now. It was something internal on my end, which I didn't check. Whatever it does, whenever you restart, sometimes it will keep the last settings, which I only use Skype over on my Mac whenever. Oh, here we go. Now let's try this out. Give me just a second. If this is Joanne, give me just a second to get you piped in. Okay, Joanne. Hey.
Hey, there we go.
There we go. That was all that was actually all my fault. I had some settings that I needed to readjust. So,
okay.
What's on your mind?
All right. Oh, I just thought we could use a little fun in there.
Oh, the Krampus. Yeah.
Yes, the Krampus and the Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
That freaked a few people out in my town.
Well, I wouldn't want to put a Bigfoot in my front yard because, I know that people would like to shoot at it. No doubt whatsoever.
Most people did not have a problem with the Bigfoot. They had a problem with the Krampus.
Oh, really? Why not the other way around? I don't get it.
To tell you the truth, I really don't know why. I don't know if they thought they were. I don't think a lot of people around this area have ever heard of Krampus, so they didn't exactly get the gist of it. And I did not put that out there. Someone else put that out there. Mm-hmm. And one day, Abe and I were driving by, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this Bigfoot!" And look, this Krampus. And I said to her, "Oh, turn around! I got to take a picture of that."
In the same yard?
Yeah. They had Krampus on the porch, looking out at Bigfoot standing in the yard. Needless to say, it didn't stand there, and neither one of them stayed there very long. So I think they got a lot of complaints. And I know my sister-in-law said to me, she says, "I got the Bigfoot, but that ugly looking thing that was on the porch dressed as Santa, I didn't get that." I said, "That's because it was Krampus." And she said, "What's a Krampus?" So if she didn't know about it, I know a lot of other people didn't know about it. And she said the girls saw that and they just freaked out. They thought that was the real Santa. And I went, oh no. When she said that meant her, at the time, her 3-year-old and 4-year-old granddaughters. So yeah, they thought that's the real Santa when he was wearing his beard of white and big jolly old Santa and everything. So that kept them having a few nightmares that year because this wasn't last year, it was the year before. So yeah. So I kind of briefly told my sister-in-law about Krampus and how that was a German thing and everything. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. Can you see can you see what's on the screen right now?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you think that's a mask from that previous video?
No, I don't think it's a mask. I think CGI.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
It just, simply because of the it's just the head. It's the coloring of it, and just the way it goes. I've seen this picture before, and I can't think of what horror movie I saw it in, but I've seen that face before, and I know I saw it from a horror movie. I just don't remember. I've seen a lot of horror movies, but it reminds me something of a long time ago.
Amy, you can send me a email, chasingthetruth2018 at gmail.com.
With your last caller, Mike,
yes.
And he was talking about the different things, and I've listened to a lot of different podcasts, and the more updated ones where people have been gathering information and kind of putting a little bit more two and two together, and why they think Bigfoot or dogmen, when they go off, that they seem to disappear. It's not so much that that they're starting to believe now that they don't actually disappear. They think it has something more to do with the type of fur or hair that these creatures have, and the type of light that is being reflected onto them. And if you only have a flashlight that shines so many watts of power, so to speak, I'm not quite good on the terminology of flashlight wattage and that type of thing, how many lumens, or if it's in not necessarily night vision, but infrared or some of the different frequencies that are out there in the spectrum of light. When you shine that light on them, some things just do not show up in that light spectrum, and it looks like they are totally disappeared. When you can take another light and shine it on the same exact thing, and it's still standing right there. There was a show that I watched, I think it was last week, called Destination Fear. I don't know if you've ever seen that show at all. But it's where
what's that guy that's the host of it? I forgot his name.
Dakota Fanning.
Okay. No, I don't believe I've seen commercials of it, but I don't believe I've ever saw an episode yet.
Okay. Well, on their last episode of their season, him, his sister, and their two best friends went to a supposedly haunted hospital out in Tennessee, and they were Dakota and one of his friends. They separated into twos, and they went out to do some filming, and because supposedly there was this ghost that haunted a certain area of this hospital, and they were outside, and his friend Tana was shooting a light anomaly, and this light anomaly, you would have sworn it was an actual real person with a flashlight standing out there, because they thought what happened was Dakota was filming a scene inside, and the back door of the place was open, and all of a sudden he saw what he thought was an actual person go running past the back door. And so they ran out there to go and check and see if there was somebody actually out there. And Tanner happened to have the night vision camera on. And so they ran out back, they ran around the corner, they continued to search because it's very overgrown there, because it hasn't been, nobody around for a number of years. And as they go around the corner, run down to the kind of like the other end of the building, all of a sudden they see this white light just out there. Now, as Tanner is looking at it, he can see it in one spectrum of light. He sees this white ball. When he switches over to another spectrum of light, they don't see it. It's completely gone. And Dakota's saying, I can see it. I can see it right there. And Tanner's going, I don't see it in this light, in the mode that he was using. And they're going, how can that be? I don't understand. So they start to go running to it. They go, hey, wait right there, because they thought it was a real human being. And the way that it runs and moves, it looks like somebody running holding a flashlight. But it moved so quickly, it couldn't have been somebody holding a flashlight. So they go running to where it ran off to, and they look in that direction, and there's that ball of light still. And they're going, hey, and again, still the same thing. Tanner put it in night mode, and he could not see that ball of light in night mode. And if there was a human being that was holding a flashlight, you would see that ball of light, and you would see a person standing there. And there was no person standing there. You couldn't see that ball of light. But yet, if he switched it over to his other mode of looking at it, you saw that ball of light plain as day. And the same thing with Dakota. They could see it with the naked eye, too. But they could not see it in that other spectrum of light. So then they try to go chasing after it again, and it runs back into the building. And so they go chasing it back into the building, and there's no ball of light, nowhere's to be found. And I just was like, well, isn't this interesting? And then I started thinking about, wow. And you couldn't say that it came from a different realm. You couldn't, well, maybe it did come from a different realm, but you couldn't say that it was a UFO or a portal or anything like that, because they didn't see any type of, waves of atmospheric waves, changing or anything along that line. But it was just so interesting to see how he kept switching over and saying, I don't understand. Why can't we see that? It was just mind-boggling. And then I was thinking back, to the other podcasts that I listened to, and how they were saying where they've gotten hair, where they've taken and they've done, some of the people have done certain tests on these hairs, and some have tried to cut it, some have tried to burn it, some have tried doing different wavelengths of light on it, and the wavelengths of light on the hair actually change the color of the hair to where it actually looks like the hair's they're not even holding the hair. Mm-hmm. And you can see, the bottom part, the hair is hanging down. You don't see that hair there. It looks like it's totally clear, but yet you can see the person holding the hair with their hand.
My thing about these hair samples. Now, I'm just putting this out because there's been a lot of hair samples that went out. I have yet to see a report from a legitimate laboratory that says we identified this and measured this particular hair sample. I haven't seen anything. I've heard anecdotal stories that we did this and this is what the report said. I haven't seen any report that I can sit there and read and say, yeah, that looks like a real report. I've heard anecdotal stories. Yeah, we've got this report and this is what this report said. And it's an auditory rendition of what they said was in the report. I have no clue. Don't know.
Yeah, yeah. There have been some reports of that. I don't know who.
Have you seen the reports or a PDF of the
No,
report? Okay.
no. One person that I know of that has the hair that is keeping it like under lock and key because he has not found a trustworthy place to send it to get it tested, because he doesn't want that hair disappearing, because he's had too many stories told to him where someone got hair, sent it to someone that they thought was trustworthy, and the hair disappeared from the laboratory that they sent it to, supposedly.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, I'm not saying that the reports are false. I'm not saying that. I have not seen anything that looks like the official report. Period. I have not seen one. I've heard a lot of people say, "Yeah, we got that," including Melvin Shell Ketchum. I have yet to see anything from Ketchum other than anecdote. Yeah, we've done this and we've done that. I don't. Is it under lock and key and they just can't release that report?
Right.
I don't know. I'd love to see it. If you've got these reports that you can share that with me, I would love to see it. Love to see it.
I have heard that report got released. Okay. I just don't know where to find it.
Oh, Shell says he has. Well, I'd love to see the report. I have yet to see one report that says we have DNA, we have a hair sample, we tested this as an unknown sample.
Yep.
And this is what we found. I'd love to see it. I may have a micro universe view of it that I'm just ignorant of a lot of stuff when it comes to this reporting stuff, but I haven't seen it. You may have, or Shell may have, or Hannah, or James, or Amy, or anybody else in the chat may have. I haven't.
Yeah. I have heard that the report got released, but I don't know where it got released to. I heard it got released publicly, but I don't know where it got released to. Anyways, I thought we could use a little laugh. So that's why I sent you the pictures.
Shell says, "Yo, since when you were in the club, if there's no research paper isn't real, doesn't exist." I didn't say it didn't exist. I said I have not seen it. I didn't say anything about it not existing. I said I've not seen a report. I'd love to see a report. There's two different things. I did not say I didn't see a report. Thus, there's everything about Bigfoot is wrong. They don't exist because there's no science. I can honestly tell you, I don't believe all the science that's out there. Period.
Yes.
I don't believe it. I think we have been manipulated to a certain extent. Implied, no. If I was implying, I would have implied a little bit harder than that. No, I have not seen a report. I'd love to see a report. Do they exist? I did put out that the reports may have been, under lock and key, that it has not been put out for whatever reasons. Is it real? Yeah. Have they been examined and tested? Yep, I believe it.
Yep.
I think they've been suppressed big time.
So, when you go searching, what do you call it? I'm just gonna have to throw this out here because I can't think of what else to call it. What search engine do you use? That's what it is. That's what I was trying to think of.
What search I use? Let's see. I got Brave search engine browser. I got DuckDuckGo, Google. I sometimes use it, but I've got the Amazon thing in my house. If I say I want to see this, all of a sudden, within minutes or within a day, I am seeing either news reports about it or I'm getting advertisements about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like to use Google to search for something because sometimes I'll put in something totally new. I'll get what I'm looking for to pop up, really good information. And unfortunately, all of a sudden I have to exit out of it. And then when I go back to look for what I'm looking for, it's no longer there. And it gives me a whole bunch of junk. And I'm like going, oh. It's like, that's when I want to shoot my tablet. This is not what's happening here. And it's like, and if I didn't write it down right at the time when I was looking for the information, I lose it.
Hey, Big Co, thanks for the tip that you sent on Cash. I appreciate that. You have a good night, brother. Appreciate you. And okay. So I get a link to Dr. Melba Ketchum talks about getting DNA from Bigfoot, Sasquatch radio disclosure. That's cool. I would love to see the report. That's all fine. Eyewitness reports are abound, and I have no doubt that these things are real. I just want to see a report to say, yeah, I have seen it. I have yet to see it. Now, I've seen some, doctors say, yeah, we've done this testing and this is my professional opinion on it. But I'm of the ilk that I like to look at stuff and read it. I have seen enough medical jargon and, blown by a lot of crazy numbers. And to find out that these crazy numbers are false or misleading, or they manipulated numbers, or we didn't share this because we felt that this wasn't. We felt. That's usually the reasons they don't share certain data points. We felt that this wasn't adequate or real info, even though it should be included. You can put the little footnote, just don't share it. That means what? You just didn't want to just because you felt it was bad crap? I want to see the info. That's what I used to do in my old life, was go through all these doctor reports and, even the medical junk that they do a doctoral thesis on. I read those things. Some of it was a lot of whack. But I went through and read that stuff. And the reason I did that was I wanted monies from the government, and you had to provide proof, even though it's lacking. And you had to know somebody to get a grant, more or less, and get a grant writer that knew what they were doing. And it was a fine art to get a good grant writer. And the hospitals I worked for usually had one, maybe two, depending on how big they were. There was one that had like 3 or 4 grant writers. And that's all they did was write for grants. Period. That was their entire day job that they went in and wrote grants, researched. But I love data. I can sift through data. If I don't understand the data, I'll research and say, okay, what does this data show? Period. What can it show? That kind of stuff. But, to say we don't have it or you can't show it, this means that, to me, you have an ulterior motive. Now, I've read studies on certain drugs. The one thing that ADHD for kids, adolescent attention deficiency, I developed a program, or was on a team to develop a program to, find the root cause for this stuff. Not, that's a catch-all diagnosis. But, drug companies circumvent that. We want to give, this new drug that, helps, and we make a lot of money, but you don't want to give drugs to young, developing metabolisms, period. Yes. And that was our program to offset that kind of crazy stuff. And I was in front of not a PTA. I went and give talks to a bunch of teachers. I'll give like 5 or 6 talks to a bunch of teachers. I had several jump up. I don't want to, do without having Ritalin given to my students because it calms them down. I was like, well, all right, it calms them down, but what is happening in the background? We have a lot of ADHD kids that have early onset of diabetes, depression, anxiety, stunt growth, their growth is stunted just because they have underlying sleep apnea or restless legs or some sort of sleep abnormality. If you treat that, you don't have all this other crazy crap that they're trying to treat with a drug that is going to do a lot more harm than just the one little side effect of calming them down. Now, that's my soapbox thing, and it's totally unrelated with Bigfoot 911 calls. But that's what I used to do for a living, and I love it. I could, as people ask me, well, what did you read for fun? I said, well, heck, I just read old science stuff, period.
Yep.
And then I would jump in and I would do ghost and Bigfoot and junk like that, on the side just to, not do anything. There for a long time, I could not stand to watch anything that was a dramatization of hospital, daily life, or ER series or anything like that. I couldn't stand it. Could not stand it. Because the one thing that just popped out was like, you can't have that machine in there. That machine don't do that. Whatever that, it makes a cool noise and it looks cool, but that machine is not at a bedside for that particular patient. A lot of it is ventilator stuff, ventilation. But holy cow, that kind of stuff just drives me nuts. And it's still to a certain extent. Yeah, I'll say it's just dramatization. Forget about it. Just watch the story. Glean from the story. Don't pay attention to the surroundings.
Did you happen to hear about the gentleman that died from he was, and I think it was the ER, or it might have been the ICU, but I think it was the ER. He was on oxygen and his heart stopped, and when they went to use the paddles to restart his heart, because of him being with the oxygen mask on and everything, it blew up.
Yeah, I have heard anecdotal stories that. Have I ever seen that personally? No. Have I been shocked by somebody who's been defibbed? Yes, I have. That is a heck of a shock to go, whoa, hey, I touched something I shouldn't have. And it happened? Yes, absolutely. Personal story that's outside of the hospital. I witnessed this. A family member, which I won't go into any more detail than that, was on oxygen and smoked. And caught to this person's face on fire. And I personally witnessed this outside of healthcare. Did I see that in healthcare? No, I didn't. But I realized that was absolutely a distinct hazard of smoking and having oxygen on, just because every respiratory therapist has this crazy respiratory therapy person that will smoke and say, okay, let me inhale this oxygen for a little bit and then light a cigarette and blow the high O2 that's in their lungs out and watch the cigarette just blow up in front of them. There was a couple of folks that did I ever do that? No. I was like, why in the heck would I want to burn the end of my nose off? But I never saw that in the 20-some years of my healthcare career in healthcare, performing the duties I was trained to do. I saw it outside of, after I retired from doing that stuff. That kind of stuff. Is it frequent?
I think my aide and I, we were just Googling through the news, and I shouldn't say Googling. We were just, looking at things that popped up on our news feed, and that was one of the things. And I think it happened in Tennessee at a hospital, but don't quote me on that part of it. But there was and and I think it happened like around either Thanksgiving or Christmas. I know it was near a holiday, and the guy was brought into the emergency room, and he stopped breathing, and he had, you know, the oxygen mask on and everything, and yeah, they went to go and shock him, and when they did, the whole area around him blew up, and of course when it blew up, it, you know, it went right into his lungs because of the oxygen and everything. And when she was reading the article to me, I went, "Can it do that?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, because they went to shock." And I was like, "Ah." And she says, "Yeah." She says, "When you're wearing an oxygen mask, it doesn't just go right there into, you know, into the mask. That whole so many feet area around that person is."
Well, it kind of dissipates as further away from the patient. Now, if you're in a closed environment and there's no ventilation whatsoever, you know, oxygen can feed in and oxygenize the environment. Sure, it could do that outside of that. You know, for instance, one of the treatments they gave end-stage cancer patients for dyspnea, you know, having the feeling that I can't breathe, was give an opiate, aerosolized opiate. They don't do that anymore, but I can tell you, I had to hold my breath as soon as I gave that medication to that patient, because if I got one whiff of that stuff, you know, just right next to that patient, I had a headache for 2 hours. My eyes were dilated.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, just a couple, you know, 2 seconds. I had to hold my breath as soon as it turned on the aerosolization, and it's like, okay, stand beside the door, make sure the patient was doing whatever, hold my breath, and not inhale that aerosolized opiate. I had done, you know, I had enough headaches. I was like, man, I hate giving those aerosolized opiate treatments. It just drove me nuts, and luckily that went out of favor for those folks. It was a cheap treatment, don't get me wrong. It wasn't nothing that you know, would cause anything for like a CFO or CEO saying, you know, that costs too much to do that. But you know, the efficacy is what I'm trying to. The efficacy was there. You know, was it doing anything for the patient? Not really. Just giving them the feeling of, I'm not so out of breath. Now, I would still keep giving it. I'll still hold my breath before I left, but holy cow, you know, that kind of stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in hospital care situation, like with this particular instance where this patient inhaled literally flames because of the oxygen and the flame source. Is that possible? Yes, absolutely. I've seen certain instances where people were in house fires and they breathed in, exorbitantly heated air, can cause the same problem. Yeah, absolutely. But there's a lot more stuff out there that doesn't hit the news. You know, there's teams that jump on these types of things within hospital systems. There are like probably 2 or 3 people, including CFOs and CEOs, will have other people that if something like this happens within the 4 walls of a hospital, you know, brick wall, they'll jump on that like white on rice. And try to snuff it out before it gets out into the public. And then if it does get out, then they'll have a plan to say this, well, did this, or we did this or did that. And then they'll have fall guys. They usually are mid-level administration in each department. Yep. And boop, you know, we got rid of it. We've identified the problem. The problem lied around this mismanagement, and that was it. And that's, you know, I've seen probably about a dozen reports like that.
Yep.
Seen a whole facility closed because of some crazy crap. And that about 3 or 4 of those reports come out of that facility of, well, we got rid of this person because everything was lying around. We identified that it wasn't it. It was just, I can't say because I don't want to get in trouble. But there was whole lot. There was a whole lot of core factors there that was just money mismanagement and not having the right appropriate staff and the right equipment in there. I'll say that. But a lot of people got canned because that's what kept the state and federal people out of there. Eventually, there were too many reports coming out, and the feds just closed them down. But that being said, there's a lot of crazy crap that happens that is never heard of, but you'd be shocked to hear about that.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, why are they still in business?
Oh yeah. No, don't get me wrong. The people that are at the bedside, 99% of them are without fail just the best salt of the earth people. They're there because they care about their job, and wonderful and be like, I want that because I wouldn't have. 99% of the people that were bedside caregivers, I would say, go to this hospital and get well, kind of deal. I can't say anything negative about the people, except for maybe 6 or 7 throughout the 25 years that I would not have my dog treated by them. But by and large, absolutely, But you go above their bosses and the bosses that they report, the bosses of the bosses. That's a different story. That is a different story. They, even though they say, we care about patient care, we care about the person that walks through the door. No, they don't. If it's a CFO and CEO, they'll that's the automatic thing. Yeah, we care about it. No, you don't. You absolutely don't. It is the money, the dollar signs. Everybody's got a dollar sign on their head. And the major dollar sign is what's walking through the door, how much we're getting off that patient, is the dollar signs that are taken away because they get a bad report. Then they'll jump on that. Like, I have been through all kinds of stuff, training, cross-training, just because of, nope, we can't do that. We got to fix this before this little warning, verbal warning, gets to the point where it actually reduces our reimbursement rates. Absolutely. So. Well, anyway, that being said, Joanne, I appreciate you calling in and listening to me ramble on about junk that has nothing to do with Bigfoot.
It's very informative. You don't know who out there didn't know some of this stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
No, I'm not.
Even if it's not part about Bigfoot.
Don't get me wrong. The whole system is set up to where, at the end of the day, they're going to take care of your mama or your dad or your brother or sister or whatnot. Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt. Because there's stuff in it, but the higher ups, literally, it's money. How can we get more money? How can we stave off, having our rates reduced, or by and large, how can we get more money? Period. That's it. They'll say, well, we got these pillars of service, and we refer to these pillars of service like, this is our shield against everything that comes in. That's against our pillars of service. Well, why is it against your pillars of service? And then they'll identify why that pillar of service failed. And then all of a sudden, poof, you got an ego was gone or whatever. But that being said, I appreciate you, Joanne, for calling in again. It's all fun talking to you. I just went off on a big freaking tangent that is another life that I used to sweat over a lot. Glad I don't have to do that anymore. But holy cow.
Yeah, I understand. You take care, Shawn. Good talking to you.
Good talk to you. God bless you.
I'm sure I'll find some more fun pictures to send.
Oh, God. Bring it on. Bring it on. All right. Thank you. Have Have a good night.
You
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, I would like to put out that was a severely left turn. I left the building and went into another zip code with that rant I just went on. I apologize for those folks that I just lost. Coming in and thinking, why is he talking about healthcare and medical stuff? Well, that's what I was an expert on. Sleep medicine and respiratory therapy, and that's the reason why I got off on that kind of crap. But anyway, that being said, holy cow. 2.5 hours. Who? Sheldon, you said 2.5 hours. Dadgummit, man. You got a crystal ball or what going on there? Oh, my Lord. And stars and bars and all that kind of stuff. So, folks, obviously, I have some other stuff that I could share, but I think I'm about done. 2.5 hours seems to be my limit for here. Shawn, everyone was... Oh, yep, absolutely. What I was talking about, everybody has to go through. You all have to have some sort of healthcare sooner or later, unless you're a few people that I know walk through a healthcare door or a hospital. Like, we can't find any medical history on them because they never went to a doctor, period. There's a ton of people out there like that. Never, ever darkened the door or shook hands with a physician or a nurse unless they were next door neighbors to them or passed them on a road somewhere. Sheldon says what? Say what? I do, Shawn. Okay, you got crystal balls. All right. I do not have any crystal balls. If I did have crystal balls, I would get rid of them. But Amy says she is afraid of doctors. The majority of the physicians I knew were fabulous. I knew some exceptional physicians that had brain capacities well beyond my limits to even understand how they thought. I don't think I'm an exceptionally dull-witted kind of guy, but I know some people out there that makes me look like I'm drooling in my potato soup. But one fella, his name is Dr. Ross, a fabulous guy, very well read, and he knew his stuff. If he said this is true, I took it as gospel. He knew pulmonary medicine all day long, left to right and sideways. I knew other doctors that, buddy, I don't know how in the heck you got through medical school. I don't know how you tied your shoes this morning. I knew some physicians like that. And then there were some other people that, did their job and they knew what they were doing. But by and large, I'm not balking or trying to name call or negative Nancy healthcare. There's a lot of problems out there in healthcare, and I can honestly tell you. Oh my God. Well, I'm not going to get on that. Socialized medicine doesn't work. It sounds great, looks great on paper. Socialized medicine doesn't work to a certain extent. There's a lot of evil that gets into socialized medicine, and a lot of people is done wrong by socialized medicine. Even though it looks great on paper, you get free health care, yada, 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 but you need to do your due diligence and look into it before you start saying, yeah, I want socialized medicine. Okay, that's it. That's not Bigfoot. That's not Bigfoot 911 calls or live monsters or ghosts or anything like that. Into private medicine too. Yeah, it depends. I think between private healthcare and socialized healthcare, the for-profit, non-for-profit, socialized, there's a healthy mix of the two. Will there always be some inherent evil that goes on in that? Oh yeah, anytime you got money, It doesn't have to be healthcare. It could be automotive. It could be legal needs. It could be cabinet building. Anything that has to do with money. There's always a greedy son of a gun that's going to wreck it for everybody. But hey, whatever. That's just my opinion about everything in a nutshell. Good Lord have mercy. NHS, because seeing a doctor cost a month's wage. Whoa. Yeah, I think that's the way we're going to go. I'm done. I'm done with healthcare. I'm not going to open my mouth anymore. I think I've said enough that probably would get me in trouble if the right person heard. But fortunately, they don't believe in paranormal or supernatural or anything like that. And yeah. There you go. All right, folks. So that being said, Hannah, if you're still in the chat, I am definitely going to do exactly what you ask of me after the show. So we'll do that. And I'm going to go ahead and say a quick closing prayer. Here we go. Father God, come before you in your Son's holy name, Jesus Christ. Lord Jesus Christ, in thy love and mercy, establish a perimeter of protection around myself, the listeners, participants of this show, and all our loved ones, those who pray for us and their loved ones. May the holy angels guard us and all our possessions, establishing a perimeter of protection around us, rendering us immune from any kind of a demonic influence. I ask that no demonic bondage, door, demonic entity, portal, astral projection, or disembodied spirit may enter the space of 100 yards in all directions of us. I ask that any demons within the vicinity or any that should try to enter here be rendered deaf, dumb, blind, that thou would strip them of all weapons, armor, power, illusions, and authority, that thou would bind, rebuke, and disable them from communicating or interacting with each other in any way. Remove them, sending them directly to the foot of thy cross, Jesus, Son of the Most High. Ask this in thy glorious and most holy name. Father God, please bless the following folks. Keith and Jimmy, Jean and family, Joanne, Merlin's niece, Shellen Aiden, Laura and her family, Julian, Jeff, Justin, Sharon, Brenda, Julie S., Aaron and Erica, AJK, Claire, Doll, Stimulate, Jack and his children, Juanita Hicks, Kim, Amy, Beth, Kurt and their father, Wes and his dad, T. Willis, Daryl P., Jose Ramirez, Julie Wheeler, Marquetta Jones and her family, Holly, Sharon Arms, Kevin, Hugo Nagy, and anyone else that has unspoken prayers. Father God, please bless those folks in your holy will as you see fit. In Jesus Christ's name I pray, amen. Folks, if you want to be a part of that particular prayer chain, holy smokes, you can email me at chasingthetruth2018@gmail.com. The email's in the description, or you can text me or call me. My number 931-994-6917. Call, do whatever you need to do. Be put on that. Or if you need a prayer or need someone to pray with, I'm your guy. If you see fit that I should or would need to pray for you, I definitely will stop what I'm doing, if all possible, and pray for you at that moment. Holy cow, what in the world is going on? Another Wednesday, January 25th, 2023. 2022 just went by. It was an unusual year, and I hope and pray that each and every one of you fine folks out there is blessed beyond measure. May the Lord my God's Spirit be all over you and your family and be among you. All right, folks, that's it. God bless you. I'm done. And I'll see you probably Saturday, if not on another program like with Mike was just on. I was on his show last night. Briefly, been on his show. If you want me on your show, or if you want to, be on my show, reach out to me. All my socials and numbers and stuff is in the description. God bless y'all. I'll see you next time. Keep it between the mayonnaise and the mustard.